Welcome back to the late Cretaceous period, everybody. We're here with the Stream Punks today playing our Saturday chill game of Predation. And before we get started today, I just want to congratulate Gina on a great show last night. Gina ran a puppet show. Tell us the details, Gina, and where they can watch it and stuff.
You can check out the VOD over at Pixel Circus. I ran a puppet RPG game. It was a refit of a Lasers and Feelings. We were playing gods, and everyone was puppets, and it was quite madness, and I was pretty happy about it. And the reveal of the puppets to my players and to everyone else went better than I could have ever imagined, and I was really happy about it, and it was great. The show is called Total Puppet Chaos. We've got 2 more episodes, and it's going to be great.
On behalf of everyone, I say release the butthole cut.
Here, release the butthole cut. Literally, I'm right here.
Look at that, right? And Gina, prior to this project, how many puppets have you made?
0. Xander's. If you go watch, Xander's was the first puppet I made. So
nice.
I was wondering which one was the first. I was looking at them, and they're all. Yeah, it's really great. It's really good. Definitely check the VOD.
Oh, I'm gonna be releasing so many like work in progress pictures on all of the social medias over the next week. So if you don't want to get spoiled, watch the VOD, and if you just want to look at puppets, that's where they'll be.
Nice. Okay, cool. Anybody have any announcements that we'd like to get to today before we launch today? I mean, you guys got to have some games though. Yes, Ravity.
Hey, Phoenix Dawn Command Tuesdays. We've got 2 more episodes, my friends, and things are getting crazy. So that is a game led by Eddie Doty, the wonderful Eddie Doty. It's got Aaron Stanley on it. It's got me. It's got Abria Anger, and it's got Elisa Pearl. And yeah, we're all phoenixes, and it's a great story about just like death and rebirth and acceptance, and also crazy like warlocks. So anyway, come watch us 5:30 Tuesdays here at QueueTimes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have any wacky stuff that they would like to share?
It's always
yes, Ravity.
Happy Diwali! That's the
yes, Happy Diwali!
Yay! This is a celebration of light vanquishing darkness. So like light a candle if you can. The common misconception it's the day that Ram slayed the demon king Ravana, but that's not what it is. It's when actually after Ram like came back after like slaying the demon king. So it's like when he finally got home, and like that's the Diwali. So demon king got slayed a few days ago, and I think that we saw that here in America a little bit. So here we are. Diwali's coming at an appropriate time. So yeah, happy Diwali, everyone.
Yay, happy Diwali. All right. I think that's everything. Yes, Sam.
I actually have a question. Is Diwali celebrated like dawn to dawn, or dawn to dusk, or like dusk to dusk? What?
It's actually like spread out over a few days, and like depending on like which god specifically that you like worship, there's like different auspicious times for it. So like for my family, because we're like really into like Lakshmi, and like that's one of our main gods, we like it's literally, my mom sent me the times, it's like 4:47 to like 6:53 p.m. today is like when I'm supposed to like either pray, or sometime within that time window I'm supposed to like light a candle and like do a puja. So it's over a few days, and each of those days represents a different thing. I wish I knew more about that, but today is the day that like all the parties happen, and that's what I know.
It's also legit. On that note, it's also worth noting, just so the audience isn't surprised by this, but we have rave for half a day today because of the fact that it is a holiday.
Yeah.
So we are pleased that rave is taking time to banish darkness. I'm down for that.
Ready to karate chop darkness.
And it sounds like maybe there's like a good window for Shabbat compatible candle lighting for Diwali. That was my check, because like we can't light them right now. So I wanted to see if it would still be Diwali after Shabbat's over tonight.
Oh, what time is Shabbat over?
So now that it's standard time, it's like hella early.
Okay.
So I think we might get in. I have to check the Havdalah time in Los Angeles.
Amazing.
And obviously I'm not strictly observing because I'm on the internet right now. But if we can, and it like, I would love to figure out a time.
It's for the Lakshmi Pujan for today, is like the Murata for that is from 4:57 to 6:48.
Okay.
Okay, then so we're good. It's like Shabbat's like 5:30 right now.
Perfect. Love it. This is great. Like,
Perfect. Fantastic.
Anyway, okay.
Banishing Darkness tonight. Got it. I'm excited.
Good work. Good work. Anyway, thank you, Eric, for letting us do that.
Yeah. Saturday is always, I always treat our Predation game like this is a very special campaign to us. It's a short campaign. We're coming up in the last 2 episodes. But this has been like our chill campaign where we kind of just have a chill like Saturday afternoon. So I am totally in sync with being a little less formal here, a little like sharing of stuff at the top. So yeah, no problem.
None of us is in a uniform after all.
That is true. None of us are in uniform. Does anybody have anything else before we start today's game session?
I already said something important. So if you missed it, that might be on you, Eric.
Might be on me. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump into today's episode of Secrets of Silvercreek. Welcome back, everyone. Let's go ahead and jump into today's episode. When we last left off, we had the startling revelations. We essentially uncovered the secrets of Silvercreek. Silvercreek having been a settlement that was constructed on top of a Sati bunker that contained incredibly important information about the future of humankind here in the Cretaceous period. You all discovered that the Gravaxi trials were sabotaged on the other end of the time travel gate back in the future from which you are all descended from, if you can follow that line of thinking. There's also the fact that you discovered that there's evidence that due to the nature of the time anomalies that have been taking place here on Earth, that it has actually disrupted the events that are supposed to take place. The Cretaceous period tertiary event that was going to wipe out the dinosaurs and over 75% of all life on the planet of Earth now is projected to not be happening. It looks like this comet that was slated to hit Earth in the next 6 months, in fact, not happening. Which means no matter what happens over the course of time, it's very likely that people are going to figure that out because this comet's only missing Earth by about 25,000 miles, meaning everyone's going to get a hell of a light show. And then nothing's going to happen. This comet's going to appear big and beautiful in the sky, visible during the day. And over the course of a day or two, it's going to dip below the horizon and it'll never be seen again. So it's conceivable that y'all are on a timeline, but the truth of the matter is it's unknown. There's so many unknowables now. You guys have entered into a new path for this planet, and it's kind of brain-breaking in that now all of a sudden there's questions about the future of humankind and what this is going to do. You have essentially, if the data is to be believed, you have all stepped into a new timeline of events for humankind. And if the data is correct, it means that the future that you thought was coming, that you've been told was coming, now will become something completely different. And letting that sink in is having repercussions, because every day you have all woken up under the shadow of doomsday. And now you have the double-edged sword of hope, a future, and the realization that humanity might be doomed as a species here on planet Earth. It's hard to say. And y'all have been trying to process this information. We're picking up this game session about 3 hours after we left off. The bunker's been resealed, and you've all been sworn to secrecy and told to go get some rest. The elders are going to process the information. Skystone is very nervous. The village, the settlement protector of Silvercreek is, for the first time since you have known her, displaying some anxiety about what's happened, an uncertainty, and also the knowledge that because y'all are built on this incredibly valuable Sati site, it definitely underscores the fact that people are going to come looking. And they were already searching for Silvercreek. Now it's almost a guarantee. What makes things even more complex for you in particular, Echo, is this knowledge absolutely changes everything about the existence of the butterflies. And there's no predicting what a people who have dedicated their lives almost religiously to an event that is not going to happen, how they're going to react is a bit of an unknown. But it's not going to be pretty. We're going to start today's game off in, we'll say, you've got your tree house. Who has a settlement? Who has a place that they live in here inside the confines of Silvercreek? So, okay. So one of the three of you will start today's game in your residence.
We've already been to my house, so I'll say not it. So somebody else will get to show their place.
You want to do it, Rave?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Describe to us what the inside of River's home looks like.
Probably. I feel like it's one of those places that's like kind of overgrown. Like she like definitely like went for like the dirt like floor and then like forgets to like weed out like a lot of the actual like ground. And so you walk in and it is just like it's either like grass or like tufts of like little like ferns that have just like grown that she hasn't really gotten rid of, because I think that like River, again, she's that survivalist, so she's like, I'm just gonna live amongst this stuff. I would say that the most noticeable thing in this man, I think that she also like is like a collector. So like if she finds something just like on the side of the road that looks like kind of cool, like she's gonna bring it home. So I think that like she's got like in the way that Clever has like her knife collection, I think that River has her like rock collection. So I think you guys come in and you have just like a nice selection of like geodes and like pretty rocks that she's like collected over time. And I think that is like the most defining feature of like River's home. But like she's only been here for a year and she's still like understanding like the concept of this is her home. So it looks lived in, but like not very decorated, but like the beginnings of someone who is like building a new personality for themselves. And she's like, I think I'm a rock person. Like, I think this is it. Like, I think I like nice rocks. And so lots of rocks for you to sit on. In fact, I think that like that's most of the surfaces in here too, to like to lay down on. Almost like Klingon-esque in that way, is that it just like super Spartan. But nice rocks to sit on.
Okay.
That's River's. But it's also got to be rocks in case 9 accidentally hits something, because like those are the least damageable. So like he can come on in here and he's also welcome into her space. But like she needs to make sure she has like sturdy material so that if he accidentally clunks something, it's not like, well, there goes my chair or there goes my table.
Okay.
Yep. That's what you see in River's place. So I think that she's converted the table, like her dining table, which is not very big, maybe like big enough for just us. She doesn't do very many guests. She's like converted into like the war room table for right now.
Okay. So a beautiful lacquered wooden table in the middle of the room. The walls made of wooden lacquer as well, which is very common here, bound together by metals and whatnot. For the most part, I would encourage everyone not to picture the settlements inside Silvercreek to look primitive in any way. It doesn't look like these are, I'm just giving a description of the settlement itself.
Yeah.
There's a palisade of there is like a wooden palisade for sure that surrounds the place. But the buildings themselves actually look quite modernized and advanced because it is a mix of that modern technology and science.
I agree. I think that River herself, though, because she's like, I'm a camper and like I've been traveling. Like I think that she almost like forces herself into those situations because she's like, I've been living like, you know, I've been jumping from trade route to trade route for so long that I like it feels weird for me to like actually live in something a little bit more established at this point. And I like do want to like kind of kick it down a few notches.
A rejection of the Sati pristine, clean floors and walls.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like get me away from that. Like I want to feel like I'm camping every day.
You're the reverse Marie Kondo. Yeah, you're like the schmutz. The schmutz brings me joy. Yes.
All right. You're all gathered around this table now. There's a heavy silence that's been falling on the group for about an hour since you left that facility. Everyone kind of processing quietly, gathering their thoughts of what they've learned and what it's going to mean. It's hard to escape the fact that you have been gifted a future. But at what cost is the big question in everyone's mind as everyone gathers in this room.
Damn fools. They didn't just kill all themselves. They kill everybody, everywhere for all goddamn time.
Sorry. This isn't a bad thing. I really just can't figure out the part where this is a bad thing. I never went to like the future. This is the future. It's now. There's plenty of humans here who aren't gonna die and will just be different. And maybe things will work out and maybe things won't work out. But like, that's how it's supposed to work if you don't have time travel in the first place. And clearly the future didn't work out. So maybe this is better.
Maybe this is what they wanted. Maybe they were trying to help us, keep us from experiencing something that we shouldn't have. Maybe we're finally on the right track. I'm inclined to believe with Penny. Agree with Penny.
From what oh no, please, Echo.
No, I'm just does anyone else feel like laughing?
No,
But it's not a
I thought we were
happy
supposed to be
laugh.
very serious about it, but I mean, yeah.
My sister's gonna lose it.
Okay, River laughs at that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The butterflies were right. They were right about all of it. We should not have come here. We shouldn't have been here. We've ruined everything. The butterflies were right.
I mean, don't go telling them that. But did you ever think maybe they sent us back because they knew they were screwing it up?
Yeah, like who says future was so good anyway? Like the most future-like kind of people are Sati. So, like, really, we're all like, woo, rah, future people. Maybe they sucked.
Maybe they sucked.
I appreciate that cavalier attitude, but you ain't never seen a silverback eat another human being alive, so there's plenty of fucked up people here too. They just ain't got
Exactly.
rocket ships.
Exactly. Imagine if there were like people like that, but then they had rocket ships. No wonder the future blew itself up.
Wait. But they said that mankind had expanded out through the stars, that we would colonize the galaxy, even if something went wrong at the gate. That didn't mean there didn't need to be no people nowhere, but now that's exactly what's gonna happen. The human race is effectively gonna go extinct. There ain't no way we're gonna survive all this here. There's ice ages and cataclysms and dinosaurs and predation taking place that we're not gonna make it. The
But
human
it doesn't
race
go in a
is fucked.
circle. If it went like, if that were a thing and it went in like a circle, we wouldn't be here right now. That means it like splits off and stuff.
Do you mean time?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. There's a lot happening in there right now. I'm having a hard time remembering where the conversation is. So, yeah.
I mean, it's
We're-
like everyone.
It's the forked
think.
kind. Or is it more like a river? It's like a river.
Hey.
River, do you have a way to contact Sati?
River. Okay. I guess my first question, Eric, is: does River have a way to contact Sati? I doubt it. I don't think she would.
I mean, you have people you know there, and the tech exists that you could contact them all the way over at Kalino City.
Okay, great.
It's very likely that the person who has the capability of making those connections, actually Dr. Amalia, but you can actually use the Sati bunker to contact Sati.
Yeah, I think that the way River responds to that is, I mean, there are certainly people that I still know in the city that we could reach out to, but I'm wondering if that is the best way to go about things, considering how I left Kalino City. I'm wondering if it would be best to go through the doctor, or even to go back down to that bunker and see if there's a way to send some sort of encrypted message.
Yes, and also I will give you this, River, just to give you some more context about Sati, because we've talked about your background a little bit.
Yeah.
Sati definitely kind of is a bull in a china shop when it comes to scientific endeavors. There are elements within Sati that's a little cavalier, as Tego said.
Mm-hmm.
A little cavalier with the way they approach, which is very keeping with Sati in general, but they're very cavalier in how they approach getting the science done.
Yeah.
They don't do the Dr. Malcolm, your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they didn't stop to think if they should kind of attitude. However, that's not everybody. There are plenty of scientists and people who work within Sati that are on the level and that are trying to make the world a better place for people here in the Cretaceous period. It's important to realize that as a big organization that is Sati, it's just as varied in the people who run it and work for it as the butterflies.
Sure.
So it's not. I say this because the encounters with Sati so far have been dubious. But but you know them better than anybody in this group, and you know that Sati is a mixed bag. They're not the evil corporations of like Shadowrun or Callisto 6. They are a collection of corporate scientists, and many of them were forced to having to become leaders of the community in order to keep the glue of humankind together before everyone fell into Mad Max in the Cretaceous period. So there are elements within Sati that can function on a level that is aligned with you guys, but there's just as many that might be, sending scouting parties to find out where you're.
So like objectively, I think River understands that, but like emotionally, I think she's in the same space of like, well, if you really disagreed with him and if you were a really good person, you would have also tried to find a way to like leave. So like maybe she doesn't see it as much of a mixed bag as she should, but like now that like we're here in this moment, I think she's like, dang it, I gotta address the fact that maybe some of them are still human in there.
Yeah.
And maybe I've got to embrace this mixed bagness of it. She looks at Echo. Just pondering everything that Echo has said about like things being a little bit more gray than she wants. Yeah, I think there might be someone or a few people even that I could probably reach out to.
I say we need to tell them. They need to know because one, maybe they can set things to rights, and if they can't, that's the largest group of people here. That's the largest concentration of the human race that needs to survive.
Yeah.
They deserve to know.
All right. So can I spend like an XP, Eric, to say that like I have a connect that is like a lower level scientist that I feel like I can trust?
Yes, that's the perfect example of how you could spend XP in Cypher system.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Then in that case,
I just kind of put a hand on the table in front of River, especially if I see they start typing on something. I'm like, I'm just one opinion. I ain't trying to give you no orders, girl. I'm just saying that's my thought on the matter.
no, I think this is the best way to have control over the situation. I think that it is worth, though, she hasn't started typing anything, but she does say, I think it is worth telling the doctor first. And
Yeah, they'll be really mad if we just like go ahead and contact Sati without them. They get so mad when you do stuff without them.
Yeah.
They just want to be a part of everything.
Well,
And then I like push Clover's face down, who like has poked through the crook of my elbow because she just wanted to be a part of everything.
Yeah, you did. Like you kept pushing her down, and so like she would like go and like nip at everyone's ankles as a like pay attention to me, and then occasionally like try and crawl up on your back and like peek over your shoulder on. It's like, hey guys.
I smoosh her face onto my shoulder, and she is pancake again.
Oh.
She loves it. But yes, so back to River. River says, I think that we should tell Dr. Amalia before we contact them. But I think there might be someone that we could definitely run this by and see what their opinion is as well.
So Brave, there's a scaling cost to what you want from this. So 1 XP is a name that you can reach out to. 2 XP is like they are like a lower functionary that you've met before. 3 XP is they're an ally, and it's a long-term benefit.
Okay.
Those
Honestly,
are the scaling benefits.
I have 4 XP to spend right now, so I might do the 3. But before we spend that XP, can we go talk to Dr. Amalia just to see how she feels about it? Great.
I kind of want to see the other Sati site.
There is that other bunker that we don't know what's there yet, and I think that even before we contact my friend at Kalena City, it might be worth checking that out.
You mean the telescope or the other one?
Yeah, the telescope one.
Yeah, because
it might have more stuff. Because like, if the future's never coming back, then we need to make sure that like all of the stuff is like on lockdown, like the stuff in the bunker, because we're gonna need that for like the rest of forever. Because we have a forever now. So we're gonna need all the future stuff because like we're not getting more of it.
Yeah.
Tego very much looks at them and he's like, this doesn't change anything. Tomorrow ain't more guaranteed to us than it ever was. Stripe could come through those trees right now and kill us all. The only thing that changed is the entire fucking human race is wiped out of existence. No bears, no dolphins, no mammals, no eagles, no birds. The dinosaurs inherit the earth.
Or maybe something different happens. Who knows?
Oh, something
we'll find
different's
out.
happening.
Echo's gonna stand up and put her hands on your shoulders and say, well, if everything's doomed, then nothing has changed. Tego, we've been living as if we're going to be doomed. And if you still believe we are, then nothing has changed, Tego.
It was different when it was just me and maybe a handful of heads on the chopping block. Not everyone who would ever live.
You keep thinking like we come before them. But we clearly came after.
Maybe dinosaurs will go to space.
That's just nonsense, but
I just
You don't know the future, and
a rock that seems like a sitting rock, nothing special, nothing that's been carved, something that I kind of know is like fairly common, that just was a pretty rock. I just stand up and smash it and walk out.
It's an explosion of rage that causes anybody to flinch when you see a Karn unleash their fury. Tego being an extremely large Karn. Gina, I imagine Echo also being a Karn. This is more of like something that's familiar to you than anything else.
Yeah, this is fine. This is like, okay,
But it's enough to startle anybody as Tego unleashes a burst of rage and storms out.
That was a souvenir.
We'll have plenty of time to find more. Don't worry about Tego. I mean,
I worry about Tego.
You can worry about him as a friend. I just mean, like, his reaction is gonna be the world's reaction. I think I'm still kind of in denial.
Yeah. Do you want to tell your sister?
Oh, yeah. But I think there's gotta be a right way. And I've got a couple of ideas on how to break it easy to everyone. People don't always trust facts, but stories and rumors have a weird way of seeping into people. So let me know what the doctor says. Because if we need this to spread quick, I know how to do it.
Well, you're coming with, so you'll hear it firsthand.
Oh. Okay. Sure.
You're coming too?
Would I help?
I think so.
You'd be more help than me. I am busting at the seams with how many intellectual, level-minded conversations I've had to have. Do you want to know what I want to do right now? I want to go smash things too. But I have had to deal with so many level-minded things, and I want to scream. Then she just sort of plants herself on the ground. I am also a Karn.
Echo, if you would rather sit this one out, that is completely okay. I just didn't want you to feel like you weren't part of this.
I appreciate that. I'm seeing stars.
Penny's gonna grab their cloak real quick, bundle it up, tie it, and like just put it in front of Echo. Like, you can punch this real hard if you want.
Echo just
Push.
face plants into it. And you just hear a muffled, I feel better, thank you.
Yeah.
You Karn your face into the blanket.
River watches for a few moments and then lets out like a, so, like, are you planning on staying here or should I go? Because she'll leave without you, but she's going to give you like one last chance.
I think I'm gonna stay here, if that's okay.
River nods. One last glance at Penny.
Penny seems to have adapted to all the many level-headed conversations, not by smashing things, but by preemptively checking out. So that's why they're completely fine. They just never intellectually engaged in the first place. This is super easy.
Great. So they're coming?
No!
No?
That sounds like absolutely nothing that I want to do. I will be bored.
Great. So River's on her way out. Where is Tego? Like
Right outside, and like
right
I
outside?
find Tego is wary of not frightening the people in the town, especially because the kids are still around. But like he would have found the biggest rock he possibly can, and is essentially doing like the strongman tire flip outside. Just walk over. Yeah, just yeah.
River just tells you, I'm going to speak to Dr. Amalia. If you want to come with, you can come with. Still,
He just doesn't. He doesn't say anything. He just kind of like looks for a second, and he goes, "Echo, all right."
Echo has a blanket that they're taking it out on. Penny's taking care of them.
He is. Let me just swing by my place real quick.
All right. I'll wait right here.
And I go over to my house, which is again is built kind of in between the roots of this big tree that has the whole area for Steenie, where she can kind of live under it and like poke her head up and see me and things when I'm inside. And I go back over there because she's the only beautiful thing about this world.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of come over to her for a second, and I'm like, hey, you awake in there? Come on, look how high in the sky the sun is.
You just see anytime there's like a hole in the notches of wood, you just see the eye like going to each one of them to take you all in before she pops up and then kind of like goes to body slam you out the door.
You okay? Let me look at this. And I like look at her scar where she was shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like is it a scar? Like I don't know to what extent the medicine works. So you tell me what it looks like when I inspect where she was wounded.
That is something I think at this stage you can make a character decision on that and decide does Steenie have a scar, and how is it have feathers not grown in properly since the healing took place? Is there like a small patch right there?
I think she does, and it's almost like a sunburst. And it's weird to me because I define myself by my scars, but I really don't like that she's got one now.
Okay.
Steenie doesn't know it. She just feels that you're inspecting around her feathers. So she starts snuffling through your clothes. and I will say that she inevitably brushes her cold, wet nose along a scar that definitely has some nerve damage. So it's almost like a numb tingle up your back.
Lets us know we're alive, don't it?
And you just get an eyeball to eyeball. She has no idea what's happening, but she's excited.
Like, I just kind of hold her head for a second, and then I just kind of turn it away from the settlement, and I just give her the hunt whistle. Like, go kill something. Just kind of like slap her on the, like, definitely turn her head away from the children. She's like, do a murder. Okay. No.
Wait for the booty smack and then bolt.
Yep. All right. At least she can have a good day. And then I come back towards River, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready. Is Penny coming with us?
Penny's staying. They, I think, are not as big fans of this sort of conversation either. So it might be best for them to stick back with Echo, make sure they're fine.
River, I know this might come as a shock, but I'm not a scientist. I'm not a philosopher or any other kind of thinking man.
No, but Silvercreek is your home. And I think that you should be there as we try to figure out what to do about this place and proceed.
I gotta ask you though, I never laid eyes on Kaleno City. Where I come from, that was the jewel in a particularly terrible crown that just needed to be burned and destroyed, but considering now it's the high point of human evolution, is it worth saving?
I think Silvercreek is worth saving. And I think save one, you've kind of got to save the other.
Well, that's the quandary. I think by doing nothing, we've already saved it, but we can't keep this to ourselves. It's the lives of everybody on this planet, everything on this planet. Let's go talk to the doc.
Agreed. While Takeo was away, though, Eric, I think that River was just like listening and seeing if she could hear the telltale sound of like Nine's tails, or just to like make sure that like he wasn't causing too much trouble anywhere. So can I get a read on like where Nine is? Because River definitely
Causing too much trouble somewhere.
But see, if nine is in the house and there's blankets in the house and said
There's no way 9 fits in that house.
Oh, okay, all right, right, okay.
But 9 would there's probably an area around. So considering they all have dino companions, they are allowed inside Silvercreek.
Mm-hmm.
So there's probably spaces around the settlement houses that would allow for them to sleep and whatnot.
I would say 9 is probably. Actually, let me take a step back. The people that we saved from the riverboat the first day, and then we actually put like guards on them, Taven's people, so that they couldn't leave.
Mm-hmm.
Where are those people? Because I would say that they are the most interesting and smell the most different, and 9 is probably like burying his head at the side of whatever building they're in and snuffling around.
They're still in the medical ward, so they're going to be found in that large tent, that pseudo-constructed building / tent that can be found on the west side of the settlement.
9 very happily, just like a straight line bulldozer, right into the side of this tarp, probably like some of his spikes, picking at some of the ropes and pulling pegs out of the ground as he's like a truffle hog along the ground there.
Pure chaos.
Yeah.
Pure chaos.
I think that there's days like today where River pretends that 9 is not hers. Whose dinosaur is that? I don't know. Oh man.
You're like my Ankylosaurus sleeping peacefully, like not destroying anything in the house. Yeah.
In the house, behind the house. That's where mine is. But no, if he's destroying, I think that River is like, I should probably go handle that, but maybe I'll just turn away. I think that at this point, it's kind of like it takes a village to raise 9, and so she's hoping someone else is going to come in and take care of him right now.
I say, especially since he was born in Kaleno City, like if they have any of their remaining food or snacks or anything, like he remembers those smells, which is why he's just like all over there.
Aww. Yeah, I think that as long as he's not causing too much trouble, she's like, I'm gonna let 9 keep doing 9's thing.
It's like, I feel like by now the people of Silvercreek probably don't even try and intervene. Like they just do nothing. They're like, he's gonna chase a butterfly or something away in a minute, and we'll just
yeah, God help everybody.
But can I say that? Can I spend my 1 XP point that's not going towards my 3 towards the ally to say that 9 does chase off a butterfly?
You don't have to spend an XP point for that.
Beautiful. Great.
Yeah.
That's the sweetest use of I want to spend XP for Dino Butterfly. That's so sweet.
9 is
9
just
chasing a flock.
it's like lunging after. What would be the equivalent of a Cretaceous period insect with bright colored wings flapping about? Not
like
a
like a 7-pound dragonfly.
Yeah. 9 is just like, oh my God, a flying snack.
Yeah.
Yep. It flies backwards. I must consume it.
So those of you who are okay, so River, you're actually headed to speak to Amalia.
Tego and I are both.
When y'all are moving towards the central part of the compound, you start noticing that there's a bunch of people running past you towards the entrance of Silvercreek. And you're starting to hear a lot of calls and whatnot. You also, I would say, especially you, River, make a perception check here. And I would say any use of like dinosaurs and whatnot, anything you've got would definitely come into play. Like
Great.
tracking or anything like that.
Walk with dinosaurs, and I have perception. I'm like trained in perception.
I think perception is the way to go here. The difficulty is going to be 4.
Great.
So for you, that's going to drop to 2. So you need a 6 or better.
Great. Oh, shit, I rolled a 20. The belly, everyone.
The moment you see everyone rushing past you all, there is this slight confusion. And given the context of what everything is happening here in Silvercreek, there is a moment of alarm that kind of settles on you for a moment until you begin to realize you're feeling that heavy thudded like vibration at your feet. And instinctively, you drop down low and put your hand against the ground and realize, with your experience, that there is a herd passing by Silvercreek right now. You can feel the familiar thunderous pounding sounds of heavy, heavy footprint. And it must be either a very large creature or a very big herd to be feeling it in the ground where you are right now. But you see that there are children shouting and a bunch of the adults calling out. With that perception check, you notice it, whereas a lot of people don't see it, but you see heads of dinosaurs. You can't tell which kind it is, but there is something moving about, I would say, 400 yards from the palisade of Silvercreek. You can see something moving up in the top branches.
How are like my herbivores and like smaller dinosaurs within the area reacting? I have read the signs, which is you're always watching the creatures around you to see what they're paying attention to. You are trained in initiative and assessing danger when you can see a living dinosaur in the vicinity.
They're looking about.
What?
They're just looking around.
They're just looking around.
Yeah, so some of the smaller bred sauropods that you have here in Silvercreek, that are many of them in a pen where they just kind of hang out like cows, as it were. They're just munching on grass. They don't seem concerned at all. They're just kind of glancing about at all the activity of humans running towards the gates of Silvercreek. However, Goose and Steenie start becoming aware. They're reacting. I would say there's a curiosity to the theropods of like, kind of like, yes, what is this? Like a curiosity.
Okay.
The way
the reason there's a stampede right now. Just run off to go hunt.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. So Steenie, okay, so we'll do something. So first of all, before we cut to Steenie, because I imagine Steenie has found this before everybody else has.
Is this the morning routine? Steenie goes and causes a stampede so that Goose gets the like runoff?
This is actually a great question, establishing.
Yeah, I think Steenie heard. Yeah.
Because like I imagine Goose is like not Goose, unlike Steenie, is not a pack hunter. The notion of pack hunting is very weird, and I think Steenie has probably for years made a lot of like offers in effect. And Goose is like, it doesn't really read to them most of the time. I don't know if it's clicked yet.
I will say though, Echo, however, does herd for you. Echo will herd prey to you.
Well,
so
yes,
I think
that's because you're my hunter. That's
of
different.
course.
That's not pack hunting like these things.
No,
these
definitely
things are silly
not.
and make no sense. We're amazing and dominant. Very different.
Exactly. So I think Steenie probably doesn't understand and is like, but the other thing does it.
I just appreciate that Sam is essentially playing me as Goose. I'm like, thanks, Sam. Like I'm literally right here. You could just at me. Okay.
My tribute to you, a Dynamo Terror.
We need to get him a little suit. Get him like a tie and a suit. And that's it.
Undisputed Baron of Silvercreek. Goose.
I want to see.
Oh, and that's how they see it too. So yes, I think the shot is Goose has been hanging by the herd areas because we established it, and has been just sort of resting. And in the wide, Steenie start snipping, and like Goose sort of looks. And then they start moving. And the eyes fully open. And the head goes up. And then Steenie initiates the stampede. And Goose just tracks it. Then back to Steenie, who's now looking at Goose.
Fully laid, like her back is fully straight and like hunt. Giving them a head start.
Goose gets up, looks at the stampede again. And goes off. And pops off. Not waiting for Steenie. This is a thing that's happened, and you initiated it, and I don't know why. But this is still for me. Like, just because you did something doesn't mean it's not for me.
This is like when one of the dogs in the house notices somebody's at the door, but the other dog didn't hear it, but it's looking at the dog that did hear it and is like, "Oh, okay, let's kill it. What is it?"
I mean, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, all right.
For those,
Steenie is completely oblivious and is now like, "No, mine!" Ah!
Perfect.
All right, so the predators take off. For those of you here in Silvercreek, it's still unclear as to what it is that's moving off in the tree lines. As of course, these trees tower overhead the size of redwoods, so some of these reach up well past 100 feet. From here, again, River, you are aware that there is some animal movement that's causing the ruckus. But the kids of Silvercreek particularly seem pretty excited by this and are rallying up near the palisade to look to see if they can spot what it is. The animals, the sauropods, the dwarf sauropods that you all keep inside Silvercreek are incredibly agitated by the sight of Goose and Steenie moving around. And instinctively, just animal instinct reacting to the sight of the T-Rex every single time. Doesn't matter how long Goose has been here. Every single time Steenie and Goose are moving about Silvercreek, they react, much to the chagrin of a lot of the herders here in Silvercreek. They get really pissed off when Goose and Steenie are too close to Silvercreek. What are y'all doing? You can continue going to see Dr. Amalia. There is this ruckus. What is everyone doing?
We have established that we have like radios and comms. Are we hearing any distress through the comms?
No, you're not hearing anything. You are hearing call outs that there's lots of activity on the perimeter.
This might be
not confirmed what it is.
This might be a good distraction for us to get in easy, River.
I agree. I think we'll hear if there's any real trouble to come back to.
I will say Tago's got his rifle with him because he always does. The shotgun I took from the silverback, I have mounted over the bed.
It was a scav. Yeah.
Oh, scav. Yeah. That is kind of like a mantelpiece now.
Okay.
But I carry the rifle.
All right. Cool.
Right.
All right. So where are y'all headed, and what is Echo and Penny up to?
We are headed towards Dr. Amalia's, just where she would be at this time of day. So probably like the main building.
So Tago and River are headed towards the main building.
Yep.
What's Echo and Penny up to?
I would say that Echo has just sort of been allowing herself a little bit of an upset moment and has stayed face down in this blanket the whole time that they went off to go. And I assume Penny has just sort of stayed.
Yeah, no, because you've been having a lot of really big feelings right now.
Yeah,
it is worth just putting into the scene for your
Yeah,
context. This is the first time you've been alone with Penny since that talk.
Yep. And exactly. So I think from the blanket, she just says, do you want to get out of town?
I mean, always.
And then she kind of pops up and you see sort of like a renewed kind go across her, and she's like, let's go exploring. She kind of stands up and just is like, let's go.
Really? We don't have to like do the thing with the fate of the world stuff?
It's only about an hour. I think we can allow ourselves to enjoy the new world that we are about to live in forever. We're just kids, man. The fate of everything is kind of a lot right now.
That berry tree outside the gate is gonna get tall.
You're gonna get tall.
I'm already tall. Maybe you'll catch up.
Yeah. All right, hang on. I gotta go grab something. I'll meet you by the front gate.
Yeah. Hey, come on, Clever.
The rocks in the home vibrate slightly as you now all become aware of what River was feeling as her and Tego were moving towards the main building. You all hear,
I guess we weren't the only ones feeling a little stir crazy. And she lets out the curtain, knowing who is causing the ruckus.
Yeah.
She can hear. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh no! I was gonna ask Penny if Penny is holding Clever. Otherwise, Clever is gonna go be a good scout. This is the perfect time to go.
So I think Penny had their arm out, much in the way they did with the fish. I think it's one of the ways that Clever can just sort of do a run up. So if Clever is feeling the desire to scout, respectful as always of Clever's autonomy, if Clever wants to do a run across the shoulders and then from that hop out a window, that feels very natural to me.
That's perfect. That's exactly what Clever would like to do. Clever would like to go scout the situation and see exactly what this is.
okay.
And if this is her herd come back, she wants to see if this is a herd she can join. It's probably not, but you know what? She's gonna go try and check it out.
Clever's like the Fiona of the belt. Anyway.
Okay. So Clever, Bambi Raptor powers activate, and Clever is gone. So what are the rest of y'all doing? What is Penny and what is Echo doing?
What?
I think we're heading out because I know Echo can't go exploring without Goose, and maybe I can help. So Penny's preparing to like head out toward the ruckus and is very quietly murmuring other things that will still be alive now because the world won't end.
Yeah, it is
like making a list to themselves, like that tree and the little baby dino that we had a couple months ago in the herd is gonna grow up now, and like just thinking through things that have futures.
Yeah. I would say Echo's goal right now is just to have a honestly, Echo is trying to have a nice moment with Penny because they feel awful and they're trying to feel good. Like, and Penny, they could tell Penny was upset and I'm upset and like, we're not good at people as much. And what we do is explore, and we haven't gotten to explore. All we've been doing is hunting people and having intellectual conversations. And that's not what we do. We like to be outside. And there is a seeking of normalcy right now in the midst of discovery and panic and the new realization of what reality is going to be. There is a craving for something that feels normal.
And my vibe feels fine. So like maybe if Echo rubs off on me, then this whole thing will just like cool down a little bit and people will be chill and not panicking around me because it's harsh and unpleasant.
okay.
Yeah.
So the two of you are moving out of Silvercreek.
Yeah, I did tell Penny to meet me at the gate because I wanted to go grab something.
Okay.
So whenever we want to go back to us, if we want. Okay, sure.
We're about to cut back to Tego and River.
Perfect. Okay, so then just really quickly, you're at the gate and Echo comes walking up. She is now dressed in the colored on Sati armor that has been altered by the kids. Mm-hmm. And there's a bunch of, just paint drawings, definitely a giant steenie like along the back, and a handful of the herd dinos, like the little ones, and a bunch of stars, and all, like, it is just covered. There's been bits added to it. I like let the kids go buck wild on this like piece of armor to make it look as much Silvercreek as they could was the task. And Echo just walks up with her hands behind her back and then hands the helmet over to Penny, and there is a giant picture of Clever drawn across the visor and along the side, and hands it over to Penny and just says, "I think you'll get more use out of this part. Plus, the kids kind of stamped it for you."
I mean, you should. I mean, thanks. This feels like a good moment for Clever to come back from the scout and like jump into the helmet bucket style.
Clever would love to do that because that would mean Clever is the center of attention, and
and we're about Clever.
The helmet is now named the Throne of Clever.
Yes. She kind of sprawls in it, so it's kind of like the belly rub.
Little Clever hot tub.
offers herself up for a belly rub because that's what she wants, but also this is my throne. So
Hey, what did you see? What did you see?
What did Clever see?
Something very large.
I think that Clever
And everything is large to Clever.
Yes, because I think you and your companion have a special way of communicating the details of your companion's discoveries to each other. So I think that because I have Scout, Clever is going to spread her wings wide. And then
Wait, but like how big though?
And then she's going to try and spread them a little bit wider.
Like,
you don't mean Goose, right?
Yeah.
Right, is it your nemesis?
Is Clever gives some sort, because I have Scout and because this is my like companion ability, and it says like we have the ability to like communicate some details. Is there a way that I can convey the size of this creature to Penny? That's a question for Eric.
With I would say that's tricky. With the animal intelligence of this Bambi Raptor, I think this is more of a role on behalf of Penny to interpret Clever's excitement and get an idea. You're not going to be able to get an exact approximation of size.
Yeah.
You're just going to be able to determine how big it was based off of how excited Clever is. And that comes in two sizes. It's either eat size or what's up, B-Dave?
I was just gonna say, it's like, would a goose scale be relevant? Like, you know, it's like scratch once for one goose, scratch twice for two gooses, scratch for three gooses.
Not really. I would say that a Bambi Raptor would not be capable of communicating that level of complexity of
I'm like thinking through what a border collie can meaningfully convey.
Yeah.
Like that sort of level of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like they can do
Timmy's
some
in a well, you know, like
cool basic
like,
communication.
Yeah.
But
I think Clever's vocabulary here is just conveying big.
yeah, I mean, and I think it's qualitative. I think it's like big food, big threat, big new threat.
Yeah.
Which is I would
very
say,
scary thing.
Yeah. Which I would say in modern day like animal intelligence, that's closer to say like gorilla or even ape, like any kind of ape species of being able to communicate to you it's big and it's food and stuff like that. However, I think the bond between Clever and Penny is such that Penny has gotten a basic understanding of how Clever reacts to certain things.
Yeah,
and
it's very much reading the attitude.
It's not necessarily Clever communicating a complex thought. It's so much of like, oh, it's like, I know that my dog gets really agitated around red paper cups laying in the grass, which she does. I don't know why Punky is like that, but they are terrifying, and they
Bad
need.
experience with the frat house.
She needs to protect me from.
So,
red
what's the
paper
difficulty
cups.
of the role to interpret clever dance?
This is going to be a standard difficulty. Well, wait a minute. What tier are you now?
Tier 2.
Tier 2. So actually, let me look this up because that may have actually changed now. The difficulty of communicating with clever may have actually
It
dropped.
might have been every 2 tiers, though.
You might be right. In fact, I think you're right. I think it's every 2 tiers. It goes down by 1.
Right. That's
starting at 3 right
roughly,
now.
let's see.
Yeah, let's just double check this and make sure. And it's good.
Companion interaction difficulty chart. Yep, same difficulty.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I have 3 for positive interactions. I don't think my asset applies to this one. So I'll roll it at a difficulty 1. I think.
Okay, 3 or better.
That's a 19.
Okay. Clever is very excited about something that is you're not getting food from her. I would say Clever isn't giving you the impression that she found something she can eat.
Though it doesn't narrow a lot down because very little fits in Clever's mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, you just get the impression that Clever's very excited about something that's very large.
It very well might be Goose. Might be Stripe, though, so we should be careful.
Yeah, it could be Stripe.
I think it's fair to say that Clever would seem scared and more protective of you if it was Stripe.
Maybe Clever's seeing a big herd.
Let's go find out.
Okay. So after sitting there kind of thinking about what Clever's trying to communicate, as she's throwing her wings open and retracting them over and over and kind of like bobbing her head up and down, like all this excited behavior.
I pour her onto my shoulder and put the helmet on.
Yeah. All right, it's the 2 of you head
Clever's
out.
doing the happy flaps.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. The majority of people stay within Silvercreek, but they've taken to the palisade to sort of look out to see if they can spot it. Nobody in Silvercreek looks agitated or worried. They look very curious and excited. And as you were all heading out of the settlement, you're starting to get the impression that they're sightseeing something. So whatever you're about to spot is probably not necessarily dangerous per se, but it looks like it's enough to cause excitement and curiosity. Meanwhile, Tego and River, y'all are approaching the main complex. What are your plans here? Do you want to talk to Amalia?
Yeah, I think that it's worth telling her that, not only what we found, but also that our intentions are to contact someone in Kalina City to see how much they might know of something of this sort. And if not, River personally thinks that whether or not our intention is to try and course correct this meteor to fit a future we thought was supposed to happen, or to leave it as is. People deserve to know, and that's where we go from.
So when both of you approach the door and signal the button that you are the doorbell, as it were, you do see it turn green and the door goes slides open. The first thing you notice is the 2 of you step inside the laboratory, which also, by the way, this laboratory and this research facility itself doubles as Amalia's living quarters. So as the 2 of you enter, you can see across the way near some of the surfaces where a lot of the microscopes and some of the digital equipment is kept. You see Dr. Amalia sitting on a very comfortable looking chair, and Dr. Yaren is actually next to her taking her blood pressure. You can see this this sort of wraparound on her arm as he is monitoring this on this digital readout, this data pad on his hand, as he looks at the 2 of you and says, "Come on in."
It's just us, me and Tego.
Amalia, when you see her, looks a little pale. A little paler than she used to. She has one hand resting on her cane, and she's looking at the doctor and nods to the 2 of you and exhales as the doctor continues looking at the readout. And he's like, "Just one moment.
Is everything all right?
She's fine. There's been a little bit of excitement. Your heart rate elevated. I'm not liking your blood pressure right now, if I can be perfectly honest, he says to her. And she just kind of does a small eye roll.
Is
But
this
he looks
Yaren,
back
the
to
doctor?
you and says, she should be fine, but she's going to need to get rest for the rest of the day.
Is this Yaren?
Yeah.
And Yaren was not in the bunker with us, right?
No.
Okay,
He
got
has
it.
no idea.
Yeah,
Unless
Dr.
she told
Dr.
him
Becker
something.
was. Yeah,
And he's
right.
acting like, yeah, I'm just checking on her because something's up. But Yaren, last time you saw him was actually in the medical ward, so he was probably called here. There's a sense of alarm seeing him because, again, you have context that he doesn't.
Yeah.
And as he folds up this data pad, literally just taking this, looks like a pane of glass that he folds and slides it into his pocket, looks at her and says, I don't know what got you excited, but I think you need to take rest for the rest of the day. All right. Just relax a little bit, drink some tea, and I'm going to come back here and monitor you again in about 3 hours. And she's like, thank you. Please go away. Please go away. And he smiles and says, I will not. I'm going to be about 60 feet outside that door. And the sensor I put on your chest is going to monitor your heart rate for the rest of the day. If you take it off, I'm coming back in here and I'm going to look at you very sternly. She just waved him off.
If he wants to come back in,
What's that?
Like River looks at Dr. Amalia and is like, if he wants to come back in here, we won't stop him. Like, we're backing up. You're in here.
He pauses as he's walking past the two of you and just murmurs, just keep an eye on her. She had a bit of a fluctuation. I just want to make sure everything's all right.
Yeah, ain't we all?
Don't go too far.
I'll be nearby.
Great.
Yeah.
Close the door or whatever, that, yeah, right.
Closes behind. And she looks at the two of you and says, you have thoughts?
More than usual.
That can't be easy for you, Tego. She smiles.
I don't reckon it is. I prefer a more direct approach to my problems.
Is that what you're here to tell me? That you want to take a direct approach to this problem?
Oh, ma'am, if it were within my power to simply lay hands on that asteroid and set things to right, I would, but I believe it's a little out of my reach.
Well, at least now I know where you stand.
Well, we've been discussing things, and there is a division of opinions even amongst our fellowship, but I think River and I at least agree on what the next stage we hope to achieve is.
I think that it's worth contacting anyone we may still have relationships with in Kaleno City and seeing how they react to this or seeing if they have any insight on this.
She lets that sink in for a moment, but what you notice is you don't get the immediate hell no reaction that you might have anticipated getting. Instead, you get the reaction of a scientist considering the facts. She takes that in for a moment.
I do not agree with Tego in that I think that we should leave this be. Let the meteor go its own way and embrace the future as it comes.
Unless there's some technology that I'm not aware of in Kaleno City, there's no changing the path of a comet.
Well, with respect, ma'am, there was technology right under our feet that you weren't aware of. And something already changed the trajectory of the comet.
We don't have hard data as to what it was that changed its trajectory.
Well, then it might be worth contacting the greatest scientific minds that aren't inside of this room that are all in Kaleno City.
Tego, the length of time in which she holds your gaze gives you the impression that she's trying to read you right now. Not what you're just saying, but you get the impression she's studying your motivation. She's not hiding that she's trying to figure you out.
I actually want to read her because I'm interested to know if she already made that call. That's the tell I'm looking for. I'm like, she might have already called them. So
I would say make an insight check. I
Okay.
haven't had to pull up Dr. Molina's stats in a while. Here we go.
I don't know.
The difficulty is 2.
Well, I rolled a
He
12.
was a level
so,
2 human being, but a level 6 scientist.
Right. I mean, who among us isn't, right?
Right.
Well, I rolled a 12, so I think I could.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, unsurprisingly, Dr. Malia is not particularly good at lying or holding it close to the chest. It doesn't look like she made that call. But it does look like you're sensing some hesitation about your philosophy towards the comet. You get the feeling she's probably landed a little closer. Maybe not hasn't decided where she fits just yet, but you get the impression just from the way she's looking at you and the long pause that she's probably in Camp Penny right now. And kind of not seeing this as necessarily a bad thing. But you are getting the impression she's undecided. You're getting this from the insight check because she's looking at you trying to figure out where you are at. And based off of what you're saying, what that's going to mean.
I would say
confirmed when a few moments later she says, Tego, if it becomes possible, somehow, by some means we never considered or had it at our disposal before, to turn that comet towards the planet of Earth, you're going to do it, aren't you?
Let me ask you a different question, Doctor. You came from the old world, right?
Yes.
What was it like?
We wanted for nothing. It was a time of extraordinary technology where we could travel to far distant worlds and planets. I visited 2 myself when I was a little girl. Food was in abundance. There was no scarcity. The average human lifespan was 114 years. And largely everyone looked out for each other.
You have any friends back there?
Family.
I
had a husband.
Oh, love. Did you any pets, dogs, cats, anything of the like?
I had a pair of cats.
You asked me if I would point that comet back towards Earth. I would say my answer is your friends, your family, your love, the dogs and cats and every human being that expanded across the galaxy and wanted for nothing still deserves a chance to live. So yes, I would.
She pushes herself up on the cane and has to steady herself for a moment as she gets back to her feet. And when she finds her footing, she says, Tego, here is the problem with the butterflies.
They're a bunch of fucking hypocrites.
Maybe. But we all are in our own way. The truth is, the butterflies are living in denial. They believe they can protect a future without accepting that the future has been changed by our very nature of being here. The great sin that Sati committed was ignoring its responsibilities to the natural order of things. And there are times where we have to question how far we are pushing our exploration, because we as a species sometimes step beyond what we are in fact ready for as intelligent creatures. Who gets to make that call? Sometimes life experience is what makes that call, right? Sometimes you just have to make the mistake. And if you're lucky, it doesn't kill you. Now, The problem with the butterflies is they believe they were protecting the future. But I tell you now, that was compromised the moment Kaleno City was established. There is no reality in which all traces of humankind are erased from the Cretaceous period at this point. Not unless expeditions were staged from the future to come back and actively wipe out all presence here. We've had such an impact in 80 years of living in the Cretaceous period. It's all theoretical, but the damage to the timeline, I can only imagine, is irreparable. But this is all background noise to the hard truth. That the future I come from is not going to be affected by the changes in our time now. In order for that future to have existed, in order for us to have existed here in the Cretaceous period, that future would have had to have been a place that we came from. That future is our past, and we cannot change our past. Do you understand?
The fact that we ain't winked out of existence means it must still exist somehow, but Echo said it was like branching in a river.
Echo has Echo grew up in a community that was deeply obsessed with the paradoxical madness of how time works and trying to predict a future in a very two-dimensional way. The complexity of the issue is beyond normal human understanding. We can theorize based off of what we know about how continuity works. But the truth is, even in our advanced technologies, time has always been a mystery and likely always will be. All I know, consider this, Tego. The future that I came from sabotaged time travel in an emergency sequence that destroyed the gate from their side. What if that means everyone back there is gone and we're the last? Would you still throw the comet at Earth? It's a big question.
Only world I ever known is this one. You been into the stars. River's been to Kaleno City, which might as well be like journeying to another planet as far as I'm concerned. You say if we're supposed to be the life raft of the human race here, they picked a shitty sea to set it out upon.
I think we are in a dangerous position where we have to make decisions based on a lot of supposition and a lot of partial data. But I do think there might be some merit to sharing our data. I just don't know what that means for us. If they decide that they want to keep this a secret, it might further motivate them to come and reclaim Silvercreek. But if we send this out to everyone,
Yes.
it's very likely that some will believe us and some will create their own fantastical conspiracy theory about the whole thing. There are people, the way the human race works is if it does not fit into their frame of mind, they will drink the sand instead of the water.
Yeah, I've had a similar experience with humanity. Well, like I said, you and River, y'all are the thinking ones of this. I might say, if we got 6 months before the truth is obvious, maybe it's worth a couple of days to ponder.
I think we could at least afford ourselves a couple of days.
I agree. But I think that if it's going to be us sending this information out, it deserves to go to everyone. And we'll never be able to control how they react. and that's just something we have to accept. I think, though, that in these next few days, we should venture out to that other bunker that we noticed.
Yeah.
I'm for that, but River, I'd like you to stay with me for a while.
Okay.
There's a few things I'd like to talk to you about. Of all the people that are here in the settlement that aren't elders, you're the one that is the most familiar with Kaleno City as it is in the modern day. And if we're inevitably going to have contact with Sati again, we should work on how it is we're going to approach this issue. And I could use your insights as well as any contacts that you might have that you trust.
Absolutely. They're all yours. I think that this needs to be handled delicately, but it needs to happen. I'll stay.
Well, one thing I don't know much about is being delicate. And I just like to stand up and I say, but could I just make one small request as you all begin your pontifications?
Of course.
We probably need to be prepared to send a single distress signal that goes out to everybody. Because if Sati comes over that hill, or the butterflies, or the silverbacks, or all of them at once, we might only have minutes, possibly seconds, to send out the word.
Tego, now more than ever it has become clear to me. The signs are all there. We've been warned twice now, and it can't be ignored anymore. And I hate saying this. We need to be prepared to defend ourselves now. Every indication has been given to us that Sati is coming and that the butterflies are coming. Silvercreek needs to be ready if we want to keep our home.
I understand what you mean now about being a scientist and making mistakes and just hoping you live through them. Doctor, you ain't got no idea what life is like for people like me and Echo and Penny. You don't got to tell us to be ready to fight. Our struggle is figuring out how to unwind enough to sleep at night. The violence part, that comes easy.
River, you notice this is intrinsic to Karn. No matter how nice or polite Karn can come off, this is a bit haunting to hear. You've known about Karn. They're cut above the rest when it comes to violence here in the Cretaceous period. Even Echo, as sweet as she can be, probably underneath has a side of her that will skin an enemy if she has to. And hearing Tego talk like this, there is a primal brutality to it, a simple way of living that involves I live, you don't. And that's how this world is going to spin. And this seems to sink in to the doctor as much as it does you, as she nods very slowly and says no more before Tego, I take it you're leaving.
Yeah, although right before I do just sort of like nod at her chest monitor and I say, some rough days lay ahead, Doc. Try and stay calm. And turn and leave.
River, you and the doctor watch Tego leave, and if the two of you didn't know any better, you would say Tego's found his peace. It's on the other side of a long, bloody tunnel that he fully intends on running down at full speed. That's where we're going to take our break. So we will be back in 10 minutes. Please enjoy our Dino Facts for the day. And Rave, go enjoy your holiday. We will see you next Saturday. Next month. Actually, we'll see you Monday night.
See you Monday night.
For some Lacat shenanigans.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back in 10 minutes, everybody.
Bye.
No puns after this. The pun we had on break is the very final one. For sure. Definitely. You should believe me when I say that.
I was telling Sam, I was like, Saltosaurus is a real dinosaur, but I was like, it sounds like something Sam would say when they're being salty about something. I'm being a saltosaur. Please excuse me. Like, totally a Sam vocabulary word. So during the break, we were talking about their characters and how they're suddenly adjusting to the news and like how they're taking everything. We should definitely, you know what I miss doing, y'all? I miss having an after show about some of our RPGs because there's so much great commentary we could talk about and explore with characters and stories that we tell together. I miss that stuff.
At this point, oddly, we're bottlenecked on time.
Yeah, and
not anything else. Time is the bottleneck.
It's true. We're totally bottlenecked on time.
It has been 0 days since I committed my last time shenanigan Campbell.
Yeah.
Are bottlenecked on time.
Yeah.
Commit more shenanigans. Come
no,
on,
I get it.
We're waiting.
I get it. I'm putting a death mark on your character, by the way. But it doesn't matter because it's predation. Okay, let's go ahead and jump back into the Cretaceous period where these displaced souls from another time, born from those who came from another time, are now contending with the fact that where the world as they live in now is the future of humankind, or at least for the present it is. You can follow that train of thought. Right now, Tego has exited the building and is heading towards the front gate. River's staying behind to work closely with Dr. Amalia to come up with a strategy of how it is they want to dispense this data and get it out to the world. Tego, upon approaching the gates, at about this point, we'll just time this out so that as you are approaching the gate, you can see Penny and Echo are about to exit the main gates. You see they're kind of taking point. It looks like they're taking initiative and actually leaving the settlement. There's a bunch of people that are watching them go and kind of like a lot of people on top of the palisades looking out into the bush and into the tree lines, where you can see lots of little animals and dinos like Bambi raptors scurrying under the bush, under the bush, as you can definitely feel the impact of heavy footsteps in the vicinity. You do see Skystone is on the top of the palisade currently with a long rifle in her good arm, as it were. She has it mounted up onto her shoulder, and she's just looking out, kind of rubbing the side of her face near her elbow on her left arm. And when she spots you, she nods, and through the comms, she said, "Catch up with Echo and Penny if you can. I think they're going to go take a look at what's going on out there."
If I can. And I just start double timing it.
Okay. The two of you, anybody who's familiar with walking through like thick bush, the two of you are taking those tall steps where you're pulling your knees up to step over a lot of the foliage that is through here. Also, being the Cretaceous period, lots of very large insects that you all are stepping over towards the muddy banks of this river as you're moving closer and closer into the great tree lines here where the noise is being heard. And as you're approaching, there's no need to roll perception. You can definitely see what looks like a mountain is moving through here. About that point, as the two of you are getting closer and closer through the trees, seeing this thing, whatever it is moving, is when you hear the crashing of Tego dashing towards you, not making that much of, like, not trying to be quiet, trying to catch up to the two of you as he comes running up.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah, what are we up against out here?
Not sure, but we did get a notion from Clever that there is something big. And something tells me Goose and Steenie are out here somewhere.
I give my come back whistle for Steenie.
Is Steenie anywhere close by?
Yes, we'll say Steenie has been sniffing around and seeing what this is. I will say, just as some like context for Steenie and Goose, the thing that Goose and Steenie have found, what this is actually not on their plate for things that they would necessarily hunt. For the same reason.
The stampede.
What's that?
We hadn't tracked back to whatever Clever found. We were the stampede. Yeah.
So the description is that whatever this noise was coming from was either a
sounded like a
stampede
stampede.
or
Got it.
large animals. As it turns out, it looks like it's large animals as y'all are approaching.
Got it.
And just as context stimuli for Goose and Steenie, these animals are large enough that they're not on your plate. They're not something that Steenie or Goose would actually consider hunting. Much like dolphins and blue whales, not going to happen.
So the little raptor set something off, and I couldn't even do anything with it. I don't understand why it keeps wanting to do this. Look, it doesn't work.
A thing.
I mean, yeah, but I can't eat it. Anyway, I'm going to find Echo. Echo's better at this.
You've never understood. I mean, imagining the intelligence of a raptor interacting with the brutish directness of a single-minded T-Rex. You've never understood this damn animal, Goose. You don't know what the hell she wants. This was not food.
She just keeps looking at things. She looks at everything.
And then tippy tappy.
Like, what even is there to be excited about? Do you see food? Neither do I.
And then whistle.
T-Rex.
Straight up. I would say when Steenie hears the whistle, has been trying to signal to Goose, to encourage Goose to all of these, like the foot tapping is normally in a pack that like says so much, and like there's been an excited confusion at why none of the communication to Goose is working, and then whistle, and it's like full meerkat of just like almost goes up on just like whoop, straight up, and then head tilt, and start, instead of running back to Dada, just starts howling. Just
like this cawing, like purring, like screech that you can hear.
Of just, I would say, come get us.
Those of you that are with Tego, normally he's just kind of like, she's fine, don't worry about it, you know, and like especially when he ref it. But since she got injured, he's been like way more protective. So when she calls, instead of comes running, he literally is like, oh,
Tego dashes off in front of the two of you.
Yeah.
Which means, Tego, you're going to be the first to see it. All right, the two of you dash off after him. So in the direction that Tego's running, as you're getting closer, you clearly see Goose and Steenie. The body language of Goose would indicate irritation.
Yeah.
The T-Rex is kind of like dipped low and the tail is swaying back and forth, like irritation. Steenie, however, is very excited.
Steenie, the moment you cut through the brush, is just like and runs around you, and then stops by your side and points with their head at the creatures.
I'm like, what are you trying to show? Like, I find when she's showing me things, I put one hand on her head, I put like my eyes next to hers. I'm like,
so it's very in keeping with the brachiosaur scene in Jurassic Park. What you see is a titanosaur that has there's a pair of them that have started to feed on the treetops here, just about 400 yards outside of Silvercreek. This particular titanosaur is known present day as the Argentinosaurus. This is an animal that's about 90 feet long, stands at about like the same height of about a 6-story building, weighing in at a stunning 81 tons. There are two of them. The second one is 71 tons and about 84 feet long. The two of them seem rather disinterested in everything that's happening at their feet, as they're just calmly munching on these treetops. Now, the three of you rather would know that these animals do come through here from time to time. They're so large that they don't have any natural predators at full growth. They don't get hunted, but they do have to consume tons of food per day. So these two have been wandering through the area for a while now, and it's clear to see as they've made a path of feeding through the treetops in this area.
I call Skystone and I'm like, well, good news and bad news. The good news is just a couple of them big old thunderers that come through here on occasion. Bad news is if they detour towards Silvercreek, ain't a whole lot we could do to detour them.
Oh, I'll think of something. Thanks for giving us the heads up. I'll let everybody know they can stand down. Let the big cows have their feed.
Echo goes up to Goose and is like, just given the like, I'm so sorry, pats, and goes to get on top to the Goose has got to eat something, otherwise this is gonna go very badly. But Goose is also very good at what they do while they're hungry. So Echo calls down. She doesn't get too high up. It's just sort of on the side of Goose, and just shouts down to Tego as you're talking to Skystone, and is like, "If we need to lead them in another direction, we also got some big stompers over here," and like slaps a little bit of the thigh of Goose.
Yeah, the knee. Yeah, these large creatures have this deep, beautiful forest green palette to their exterior skin, this thick hide. As they're just commonly, even above over your heads, you can hear those teeth grinding branches and needles as they're just eating the treetops. One of them does kind of casually look down, noting that there's a T-Rex, but much like an elephant might regard a hyena, doesn't seem incredibly interested. Definitely is taking note. They don't have babies with them, so there's not an alarm going up. But they are taking note of the T-Rex that has appeared close by. And the two of them are just calmly eating while watching.
They're too big to hunt. What is even the point of them?
You think Nine's tails does a lot of damage. Imagine if one of those things takes a swipe at us.
I wouldn't want to mess with it.
I wouldn't want to mess with it either, but you know, if you keep putting cucumbers down by a creature, they tend to just move away from it. Might be able to herd them away from Silvercreek.
Is it are they nomming in the direction? They eat trees. I live in a house of tree. Are they heading toward my home?
No, they as I said, they're about 400 yards outside of Silvercreek. They are. It looks like they're really interested in the treetops of these ancient woods, but it doesn't look like they're moving towards Silvercreek. It looks like they're kind of moving adjacent to.
Okay. All right, then we're good.
That could change at any moment, like the wind, if they get an inclination to start eating in that direction. But
okay. Then I think maybe we proceed on exploration-y things, because I don't have to worry about. It's not like I have a lot of stuff there. It's just like there's a, Clever would miss her guns.
Clever has guns.
A whole pile.
Does Steenie not?
I mean, she's more of a knife kind of girl.
Oh, Clever has so many knives.
I turn and I look where they've kind of like crashed through the brush, and I'm like, maybe this is an opportunity to range a little further and faster now that we got a lane open.
That's a good
Indeed
point.
you do. There is a path of destruction. Any tree that is about half the size or maybe slightly larger than Goose has been flattened as these two have casually walked through this area. There is a clear line of sight from where you are straight to the river right now. You can see the muddy banks of the river from where y'all are at. Just looking down this column. Might be beneficial to create a pathway through here based off of what you've all seen. And there's free timber basically laying about now. I
call that back.
Okay.
To, if Skystone wants to send some people out to, do some scavenging here.
Okay.
So just what's in Tego's head, and you tell me based on we know we've got enemies around here, and now
Mhm.
there might be a very easy like path right to where we are. Has
Not-
this happened? Yeah.
Again, it's running adjacent, so this
Okay.
wouldn't be very strategic to get to Silvercreek or to set up a thing. You know what I mean? This is more of just like, this would certainly give them a place to set up if they wanted to be out in the open. Why would you? But it certainly could happen.
Right. Our advantage is we have the herding plains around Silvercreek, which is kind of like, you have the fortress in the long sight line because you're on top of the hill kind of deal.
Right.
They'll have to leave the trees at some point and then be in our visibility. And then,
Tego, if you want to make a roll, actually, all three of you can make this roll. But I would say any kind of skill you have for strategy or insights into like setting traps or something like that, I would say make a roll here. Difficulty will be 3.
I got a 15.
And this is going to be an intellect test. So 15 is definitely going to pass.
Okay.
Hmm.
Did you get a 20?
Amazing.
Tactical
You got a 20?
Penny.
I got an 8 and a 20 for the intellect. Insight. Tactical.
You're a character who's a disaster, a walking disaster. What did you get, Gina?
I got an 18.
Okay.
I
So
appreciate all of us are just like,
all three of you are like, gee, what a great place to lay traps. Because this is a naturally occurring, like, destructive in the woodland. It's covering the ground. So there's not going to be anything suspicious about this to anybody who's done any kind of ranging. This is like, interesting. If somebody decides to attack you guys from the north, they're going to have to pass through this patch of destroyed tree line. And boy, oh boy, wouldn't this be a fun place to put some shit to mess them up?
Trap set montage.
montage.
As Echo sends Goose to go eat breakfast.
Yep.
Set up traps.
Also send Steenie off to get her murder in because she didn't get to.
So why don't we do this?
Mm-hmm.
And they take clever too.
If you guys, if one of you is willing to spend, or all of you, if you want to contribute, want to spend up to 3 XP,
yeah,
we can say that you rally, you let Skystone know what's going on, and they start trapping the fuck out of this place.
Love it.
Then
Right.
we'll establish that as a long-term benefit and a powerful item. So
Okay.
this entire space that these titanosaurs have carved by Silvercreek, which now appears to be a naturally occurring feeding trench that these huge animals have carved out through here. Because Silvercreek being out in the wilds this is part of living here. The challenges of everyday life isn't just running from dangerous pack animals. It's occasionally titanosaurs will wander too close. Occasionally there's flooding. Occasionally there's a hurricane. This is life in the Cretaceous period. In this instance, you're going to be able to use that to your advantage and turn this random event into a defense of Silvercreek. So this is going to come into play in the future. So mark it on your character sheets. We'll say
Perfect.
it's trapped, and Skystone is going to work on that. She's standing next to the two of you and looking at these creatures as they just casually continue with remarkable efficiency, stripping the tops of these trees completely of their bark and branches. And Skystone just is like, God damn big dumbass animal. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get to work on that. Did I hear right that the 3 of you are planning on scouting?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know what you're up to. Just tell me when you're back. And don't wander too far. I don't think Stati or anybody's going to be around the corner anytime soon, but you never know.
This place is now called Thunder Road, and you don't go there because it's trapped.
I love it, Gina.
Mm-hmm.
Gain an XP. I'm not kidding. Everyone gain an
Even
XP.
if you were, I'm taking it.
Yay. Thank you.
So we'll say this only cost you 2.
Perfect. I will say, as Skystone is going in, I'm like, try to make sure that Taven and his people don't find out what we did through here, just in case.
Skystone leans over to you and she's like, I've been watching those. Taven seems like he's on the level. I'm still not sure about everybody who is coming through the Salt Road, though. I mean, it's not that anyone's giving me a vibe, but they're from Kalena City. I don't know. I don't like it.
Well, my concern isn't so much that they themselves are insurgents, but if they go back and are a little too casual about what they seen and heard, our numbers and defenses.
We can at least figure something out. I've already talked to, you know how Malia is.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. They're not giving me a vibe, but they make my stump itch. She kind of smirks as she scratches at her arm a little bit.
If that ain't the best description. Now, she was down in the bunker with all of us, right?
Skystone was, yeah.
Yes.
She was with y'all.
And I just say to her, I'm like, still trying to get my head around what's soon to be the new normal here.
Don't even bother. Tego, do what I do. Don't think about the earth. Think about your world being Silvercreek. That's what I do. This is my world. I'm going to protect everyone in it. And you're damn good at it because you know as well as I do, if anything happens to me, this is your place now. You're going to be the next person who's protecting Silvercreek. And it sounds like shit's going to be going down. What's that? What's that?
You hear echo from across the thing go, hey, promotion!
God damn it. I've been hearing on that woman.
Yeah, it's a mixed blessing. Hey, we were going to go check out that other site.
Right. Could you do me a favor and just make sure none of the fishers see you, make sure none of the foragers see you. Just lay low. If you're heading off in that direction, I just don't want anybody else knowing about it just yet, especially the kids. They find out there's a telescope out in the middle of, nowhere close by to Silvercreek. They're all going to want to go look at it, and we won't be able to stop that.
I figure it's got to be pretty well hidden, though. Otherwise, some big bastard like this would have stepped on it decades ago. But yeah, we'll swing wide.
Also, be careful. This facility was locked down. If the other site, we don't know how things ended up there. Do you know?
Yeah.
So just be careful. I don't know what's over there yet.
When we were down in there, that glowing person, I don't know, what was it, like a light appeared talking to us. Remember?
Whatever the fuck that was.
I don't know. Maybe if we run into too much trouble and we yelp for help, maybe that thing can help turn off the defense. I don't know.
Well, thanks to River, it knows you guys now, so that's entirely possible. Yeah.
Well, we're wasting daylight. We might as well focus on the problems we can solve with our own two hands, right?
She pats you on the shoulder and says, "We'll take care of this, so you go do your thing."
Yeah, and that rifle, that's a nice modification you got going there.
Oh, yeah. Weighted so I can fire it with one hand. I don't even have to use the other one for a balance. Check that out. She hefts it up. Again, this looks like a rifle you might have seen in Star Wars, like those long rifles with the double barrels on the top and the bottom. You do see it has a heavy weighted end on the side of it, so that if she wants, she can just mount that up on her other, like on the forearm or the bicep here, and just do a casual sniper shot. It's probably got a hell of a kick on it. So it's not going to be a rapid fire weapon by a long shot, but she has the capability of basically sharpshooting with this thing.
Glad you're on our side, Doctor.
Yeah, I bet you are.
And then, head off.
As she's moving away, she just says, "Get out of my way, Goose," and steps over this T-Rex's toe. She completely ignores the T-Rexes. There's just...
I growl too.
When I hear that, I just look at them both. I go, "Oh, you're both fearsome hunters. So scary. Let's go."
Oh, good.
I'm like, isn't he supposed to be off hunting already? Steenie's been gone. She probably has already cleared this place out.
You said there were Bambi raptors nearby.
Yeah, scattering
Can I
around.
just eat one?
I'm picturing Clever bringing back, instead of a knife, bringing back another Bambi raptor.
Yeah.
Did you want another one? Like, let me.
I don't know
Goose
what
eats
clever
it?
is. I don't think I've ever seen a clever. Like, I know there's something that nips my heels, but I've never actually looked at what that is. But I just need to eat something. This is making me angry. No one's taking me serious.
Goose is like, I'm a T-Rex, goddammit, I have feelings. I'm the king of the dinosaurs.
I'm the king of... Yeah. I want to go be a Dynamo Terror and cause mayhem and just...
Please do. I'm also feeling like Goose isn't getting respect. Please go kill something aggressively.
You're right. It needs to be bigger than a Bambi Raptor. It should be bigger than me. Let's go kill something bigger than me.
I need fan art of Goose looking like Rodney Dangerfield right now. I get no respect.
No respect. No respect at all.
Do you know how hard Goose works not to eat these humans because it would be upsetting? And they're right there and they're squishy
every day of my life.
And now they're disrespecting me.
This is a
they know what they are. They don't even have claws. They don't even have teeth.
Waking up with the beast and vampire is tough. Try actually being a beast and waking up every morning.
I feel like this has given you an intrinsic insight into how I live my life, Sam. Like, I mean, this will do so much for our closeness. You're like, I could just kill them all, like whenever I felt like it, and they're so sassy, and they don't.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Like I'm
so sassy.
Every single one of you. Like just no one would even know what happened to you.
They'd never find
Silvercreek by night. Chat just said. I went to look to see what chat was doing. Pretty funny.
Yep, 100%. Yep.
No, Hunter, you're completely right. We need to kill something bigger than a Bambi Raptor. We need to kill something bigger than me. I can't anymore. Let's go.
Yep. Okay.
Which is basically just to say another roar, an absolutely voluminous snoof.
I match you.
And
again, chasing normalcy. This is great. Yeah. Let's hunt.
Goose having a tantrum's absolutely normalcy.
It's just it's so adorable thinking of these horrific, primal, brutal predators of the prehistoric past, both engaging in pouty behavior and self-care. As the two of you move forward, like, I need to murder the fuck out of something right now. I'm a murder machine, damn it. Like, and the two of you are like, oh, sweetie, don't worry. We're gonna go kill something right now. You deserve it. Let's go.
Who, me?
I'm Steenie kind of like mimicking Steenie, yeah.
No. Echo is also Goose right now. Of just
right.
Let's go kill something.
Okay, so
it
is a
so
half
I think they take
journey.
the lead in the direction that we're going toward. They're going to try to get a to-go meal.
Okay. It's a half day's journey to the cliffside where this supposedly the branch of the lab that is connected to the SATI site. Also, as a quick reminder, Silvercreek is SATI site 000E. This apparently is connected to the SATI site. It's still considered the same SATI number site. This is about half a mile west of Silvercreek. So it's much closer to the mountain range, the Great Mountains that loom high up into the skies here. However, it is not on the mountain range. As specified, the technologies of gazing into the stars at this particular point in time and this particular point in history, with the science that is involved with the telescopes that could be created at the time, make it so that it does not require the same considerations that we today have to consider, which is, of course, oxygen in the atmosphere and the warping effect it has on viewing deep space objects. Cloud cover being the big one, especially because it's the Cretaceous period, and holy hell, storms are pretty rampant, as well as atmospheric disturbances thanks to a lot of volcanic activity. And yet, no light pollution. And there's the added benefit of the mountain range. Even at the base of the mountain range, there's enough of a clearing here that it seems to have a zone where it can have a clear view of the night sky. However, as the three of you arrive at the location after half a day's travel, you can see clear signs that there is something built into the cliffside here. Now, none of you have actually been to this particular area of the mountain range. This is at the base of the mountain range where the land starts to give away from that soft, cool mud that you're used to walking on near the river. And it starts to give away to more of a dirt until it finally starts giving way into gravel and heavy boulders. Again, the Cretaceous period, lots of seismic activity, lots of chunks of falling rock that have settled here. Yes, Jody, massive boulders. There is volcanic glass that can be found scattered about that has cooled after explosions over the past few 100 million years, dating back to the beginning of the Triassic period.
I'm going to take some.
Okay, yeah. Beautiful black glass that you can just pick up in chunks. What's up, Tego?
I was gonna say I'd definitely bring some back for River because I do feel bad about the fact that I broke a rock. But also, I would say to Echo, your sister's an expert tracker. We need to be careful that we don't inadvertently lead them right to the front door, whatever this is.
That she is, and we will be careful. But if I know my sister, we at least have a few days head start. Her bird, whenever she sees me, she tends to cloud like a really thick soup. Then she makes a decision. So, if we're lucky, the elements will get rid of our tracks long before she's made that choice.
Yeah, I'm quite familiar with the distracting effect that your presence can have on clear thinking.
Echo's not used to being flirted with. That is
my favorite reaction, honestly, was Sam just now.
As Goose's head comes down.
Yeah, I would say Echo just kind of gives you the like, okay, look, if this was just a shot in a scene, it just eyeball.
Yeah. T-Rex just T-Rex basically just does the Will Smith sup. Like, yo.
I said what I said.
Yeah.
And I'm a Dynamo Terror, so I don't understand
it.
Nice. All right. The cliff sides here, like I said, it does look like there is a facility here. You can see the cliff face, but it looks like buried underneath years of rubble and dust and foliage, there appear to be two large double doors that are closed with the Sati logo on it. You can see it because your imagination is able to connect the dots based off of what you're used to seeing now in this bunker. This looks like it has a double door facility that probably slides open and allows the telescope to exude from the cliff face. However, you get the impression in just the 80 years since this place has last been used, seismic activity has caused heavy damage. Looks like the cliff face in which this facility was built into, there are huge cracks in the rock that are split down the sides of some of these rock faces. And the facility itself is about maybe 60 feet up on the cliffside.
We have to climb?
Clearly see. What's that?
Do we have to climb in?
You probably do, because there is an entryway towards the bottom that looks like it's completely covered in what looks like tons of boulders. You can see it behind great rocks that have just fallen into place. So the way in is probably through those double doors for the telescope.
I realize it is River that had the combination to get into the bunker, but it would be a fair assumption that we
got it from her. Yeah,
that's what aware of the code. Okay, all right.
The moment Ravity said that they had a half a game today, I'm like, that's easy. You guys had the code.
I look over at Penny and I just say, Looks like we're climbing, Penny.
Yeah, we are. We're climbing. This is a good kind of rock. I have my climbing gear. Oh, I'm so excited.
You go first. Show us where the footholds are.
All right, absolutely. Happy to send the route. All right. On belay?
She's not there.
I say to Clever.
She's not there. You turn and look. You just see a Bambi Rapper dashing towards the mountainside. Just like...
Okay, all right. Understood. This is a race. And you know who's going to win? Both of us. Friendship.
Yeah, because Clever, if this was a race, Clever gets about maybe 60 feet in front of you towards the base and turns on a dime and comes running back to you. And
Right,
stops
here's the thing.
and kind of cranes her head a little bit to the right.
If it's a race and you climb the climber, then you can like win them at the top. And like that's got to be the Clever strat. Climb onto me and
If
then
I'm
beat me
standing
by
on your
climbing
head,
up off my head.
I get there first.
Right, exactly. It still counts.
How high up do we need to climb
60
to
feet,
get in?
I heard.
It's about 60 feet.
Okay, I want to run up the back of Goose to start higher.
Oh, that gets you like what, 20 feet up?
Yeah.
Goose is standing height for the T-Rex is probably about 14 feet. But if Goose was to...
And then add my height, that's...
Yeah, it's true. About 14 feet. And then if Goose was to like go lengthwise...
If you want to do the like...
Yeah, I'm going to go up the back, rub the neck, have Goose do the thing, raise me up a little further, and then latch on, because now I see how Penny's doing it.
Okay. All right. So as you are moving closer, all right. Basically, I'm going to need everybody to make the climbing checks at this point. Now, the good news is this is it's not a sheer rock face. This is actually built on an incline, which is ideal for anybody who's using a telescope. If it was just on the rock face, it'd be a little more difficult. However, it's still a lot of loose gravel, a lot of loose rock that has fallen down here, is a lot of volcanic glass, lots of wonderful opportunities to cut yourself as you're climbing this rock face. So go ahead and make any kind of climbing athletics check, and the difficulty is going to start at 5.
So anyone who wants to follow off my rope can benefit from my climbing gear asset.
So it'll drop to 4.
Because I'm sending the route. So Tego, for instance, if you want it, because, you know, Echo
I went higher.
is not, yeah.
And this is a strength task. So if you want to spend anything, it's out of your strength pool.
You mean might?
Your might, yes.
I got an 18, but as I'm coming up, I am coiling the rope behind me. So like we'll let it back down. But if somebody's following us, they're like, nah, you don't get our rope. Yep.
All right. Cool. All right, what are the rolls? We got Tego's got it.
I don't think I have literally anything that will help me with climbing. I guess I could spend out of my might, but I don't have anything to activate.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
without anything to activate, the difficulty of this is going to be 12.
Okay.
So you'll need a 12 or better. The difficulty is 4. You'll need a 12 or better. Yeah.
I don't think I get the drop down because I went higher, and I don't think I get the rope.
Well, maybe Goose is an asset. Because you got...
Is Goose my
dropped a
asset?
bit.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'll give you that.
Yes,
Okay.
Goose is very useful. No one thanks it, but you know.
Oh, once on the rock, there is so much jerky being dropped down. Dumb.
Yeah, because
You're covered in blood already, but just a few extra snacks.
Good.
Gory Goose is going to be the nickname. If this is a Garbage Pail Kid set, Gory Goose.
So,
okay.
15 for me.
Okay. And then Sam, I'm guessing.
Not 20.
Penny. Okay.
Rolling with advantage. I get to play a character who loves climbing again, Eric. I'm so excited.
Nat 20. Of course.
And we're mountain climbing again.
How many Nat 20s is that this game? That's 3 now.
That's 2.
2
one for the trap insight and one for climbing.
Rave rolled 1, I believe.
Oh yeah, Rave also rolled 1.
3 Nat 20s.
Yeah,
this
no, you're right. It's 3.
So,
I'm rolling at advantage, so
that's fair.
I will produce more of them statistically. But does this also mean that Penny beats Echo?
Yes. On a nat 20, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you reach the metal doors, you do see that they are slightly open enough that you can actually stick your fingers inside, but the three of you are going to have to work together to pull these doors open. Okay.
I mean, we have no shortage of strongness, although I'm also aware of the fact that we don't want to break this, though.
Yeah, the Dino companions, unfortunately, are not going to be able to reach this door.
No, I meant us. We're two cards. Yeah, but I mean...
No.
But also, we don't want to break it, though. Like, I mean, it should be, like, closable when we're done here.
I'm going to need everybody to make might checks. But actually, what we could do, let's do this. Keep it easy. Whoever wants to take lead on this, and we'll have 2 assists on it. But in order for that to take place, everyone's going to have to spend 2 points out of your might pool as you tug on these doors.
Tego, you want to take point? You between the two of us, you'd be on the strong side more.
Yeah, you're kind of the Mark Henry of the party. You've got the.
I have the
hey, look at you with the Mark Henry.
What's that?
I was like, shout out to you with the Mark Henry illusion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. Especially because I think Tego kind of looks like him now that you say it. He's not quite that broad, but he does kind of would look like it.
Tego, Jesus.
Yeah, he's not quite as broad. He didn't have that caloric intake, you know.
Right.
But yeah, okay. He would kind of like you those metal straps that he has across his fingers as he kind of like works it in. He's like, okay, so Echo, we're trying to keep these things on the hinges, all right? We just slow and easy.
Yeah. And she takes out her spear and she jams it into a bit of the opening to sort of push force. So it actually feels like it's opening the correct way rather than
not hard.
That is the opposite of what I meant. Okay. All right.
It's not going to break it. It's a spear, Tego.
I'm sorry. I need to stop looking at chat, but Jareth just pointed out something that was really funny.
What?
Y'all are mountain climbing.
I just said, I said that.
Yeah. It just didn't register. It just went right past my poor naive little head. So go ahead and make your roll. The difficulty is not going to be easy. The difficulty of this is going to be at 6, but you're getting an assist from both Penny and Echo. So
how's Penny want to assist?
I mean, look, we've established Penny's a string bean. So if
you want to help push the spear?
Mean.
You want to help him push the spear?
Yeah, I think the leverage thing. Like, you had a good idea.
Okay.
That seems like a good that's a good idea. I would not have had that idea.
I'm going to clever this since we don't have a rave. Clever is now Eric Clever. And as this is happening, Clever is going to leap down off of your shoulder and immediately enter the base. Just jump down and go right into the doors.
Clever won! Echo just like says while they see it go between their feet.
Dang it! Does what she wants. Look, I was surprised she didn't just grab a hold of this spear with her little beak right now.
Yeah, just hang there.
Exactly. I mean,
while pushing, Echo just instinctively touches her hip to make sure her jagged dagger is still there, and then goes back to pushing.
All right, B-Dave. So
checking.
Roll. The difficulty is 6, but it's going to drop by 2 automatically because you've got your companions helping you. So 4, and then 4 from however else you can drop that. Because y'all are all assisting, because of the intensity of this roll, it is going to require everyone in the party to spend 2 points out of their might pool. However, if you have edge, that will discount that.
I do have well, first of all, I rolled enough. I rolled a 15.
Okay.
I do have, but so I guess I don't need to spend anything else with that.
Yeah.
Is it not enough?
15 is good. What is your edge and your might?
1.
Okay, so you only need to spend 1 point out of your might pool.
Okay, great.
And it's like a gateway cost to cover the fact that you're exerting yourself.
Now that we're tier 2, that does not automatically increase, correct? Like I would have need to have picked it.
Yeah, you need to pick an advancement to up your edge. Yeah.
Okay, got it. very much when they start wedging the spear, I'm like, no, y'all, that is not what I'm saying. It goes in the pocket near a pocket door.
Pivot.
Yep.
All right.
Pockets.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And slide it open. Yep.
Okay,
They need to still be functional when we're done here.
Everybody, you managed to get that wedge and you managed to pull those doors open. There's a screeching sound as these doors are grinding against a bunch of those small pebbles that have gathered at the base. And a shaft of light crashes through the opening that you have now all created, as for the first time in 8 decades, these 2 doors begin to be slide open. As they do, one of the first things that happens is a swarm of spiders erupts from the inside of the door and comes pouring out over the edge.
I spear one of them.
They are large enough. They're about the size of the palm, but as they come pouring out, you see they're immediately being chased by Clever, who is snatching up as many of them as possible and just
Clever is to spider as Steenie is to herd of like Gallimimus.
Oh yeah. Clever
Thanks,
is showing Goose how it's done. As these spiders with these like jagged green sort of patterns across their bulbous backs are just like swarming out of this thing. Now, they don't look like modern day spiders. Their legs are a little bit more hooked, a little longer, but as they're pouring out, they kind of avoid all of you. And mostly because Clever is herding them down the cliff face.
Can I still shish kebab one of them?
Sure. Yeah, you knife one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Still at the edge of the knife.
Still trying to repair a little bit of. Still trying to. Clever still doesn't like me, so I'm trying to add to the like. Hey, you did me a thing. I steal you a snack.
Okay.
I would say you guys know that like Tego's not afraid of anything. Like he didn't flinch in front of Stripe, none of this stuff. But all these spiders come out. There is an audible as he moves out of the way and very much starts doing his breathing exercises. Like,
Echo, I should say, do you remember Miko in Pocahontas? In Pocahontas?
Yeah.
You remember the scene where Miko was stealing all the food and then was about to leave, but then stopped and turned around and snatched the food, that last piece of food, away from the dog before it fled? Yeah, that's Clever right now. Eats the spider, looks at you, is about to leave, turns back, snatches the spider without another single thought. This feathered little dinosaur dashes back into the opening.
Great.
You think you scored points?
Who knows? But that is the first time Clever has stolen something from me while I was looking. So that's got to mean something.
It's possible that Clever thinks that they just brilliantly stole something from you.
That's all I ever want.
You're sitting there trying to give Clever something, and Clever's like, "Made you look, mine."
but that's the trick. I always try to offer without looking, so Clever thinks that they are stealing from me.
All right, y'all lower yourselves.
Keep checking that knife.
I know. Keep checking the knife.
As you're dropping into the facility, the entryway down into this dark room, which is just filled with motes of dust, you can smell the air in here, has sort of an acrid scent to it. For you, Penny, it has a burning sensation in the back of your nostrils. Like you're definitely breathing a place that has been exposed to volcanic gases and other noxious fumes over the years, has settled and cleared out. But for all of you, it's kind of this pungent. The two of you have difficulty actually identifying what the smell is. You're having almost the same experience as Penny, who's like, the moment it reaches your nostrils, Penny, you're like, ugh, ooh, it's like tearing up at the bottom. There's heavy sense of sulfur in the air. So that rank scent is kind of mixed with that heavy, thick, smoky-like atmosphere. But for you, Penny, yeah, it's a bit of a, like somebody popped you in the nose and it's causing this kind of tearing reaction. As you all lower down into the room itself, you can see that dust has settled over the place. Lots of ash has settled. Probably has it's gotten through that crack in the door. You also see some of the ceiling looks like it may have fallen in, but the facility looks largely intact. You do see the fully intact telescope that is still covered. It is about 30 feet long and it looks like it retracts. It looks like it like spirals out and retracts a bit to elongate. Doesn't look like it's actually taken any damage. The control consoles don't look great. They are also covered in ash, and one of them looks like it's taken heavy damage from falling rock. There are 2 corpses in here. You see 2 humanoid bodies laying face down on the ground. What's remarkable is the volcanic ash has preserved them. It looks like a lot of them are not in the deep state of decay. It's not a boned body like you might expect finding in a facility that hasn't been around for 80 years. Instead, you find a mummified looking pair of people laying on the ground with lab coats on that has been torn and stained and burned away. They look like they might have been Sati employees, but it's very difficult to identify.
Even with the lab coats.
Mm-hmm.
Lab coats would it be?
What's that? Yeah.
Then who else would it be? Do we see a cause of death? Like, are there gunshots? Like,
you can certainly look. Yeah, if you want to.
I'd like to look. I mean, dead bodies aren't really.
Yeah,
they're pretty common.
When she starts to approach it, I just kind of put my hand on Echo's arm. I'm like, poke it with the staff first, spear it a little bit. You don't know what else might be living in there now.
She just sort of shakes her head like, good point. Gotten so used to these places being sterile that as she gets a little closer, the stench it's like being in front of a Doritos bag. It's, oh God.
An absolute good? What?
You've never felt the like from immediately smelling really pungent chips and it just sort of clogs your throat.
I mean, I'm from Arkansas. We huff that instead of paint. What are you talking about?
Oh boy. Well,
I'm tripping Cool Ranch right now.
I have a very intense, sensitive nose, so that happens to me.
Just picturing Diego dashing over this body and dropping onto all fours and just going.
No, you're gonna do mainline some volcanic dust. I'm gonna become an oracle now. Yeah.
Real quick though, just to let everybody know, this is inspired by the horror mechanic of Cypher system, but it is not the same. I just want to let you know that because you've entered an area that is filled with old air and settled gases, that for every hour you spend in this facility, you're going to take 2 points of might damage.
Okay. Would Penny's helmet negate that?
Yes, the helmet will negate that. The helmet is actually going to filter the air through here.
Cool. Since we would know that kind of stuff, right? Like this is hazardous air.
Cool. The moment y'all are in here, all 3 of you realize.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
We can't stay in here too long. We'll be okay, but we can't stay here too long.
Yeah, and Echo has so many parts of her outfit detached to either be tourniquets or what have you. So she just takes off one of the ones that are detachable and just wraps it around her face as she gets closer to the bodies.
Okay, we'll count that as an asset, and I'll reduce it to 1 point of damage.
Cool. We did establish that Penny has that helmet. Does it have any sort of filtration?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Penny has a filtered helmet. Yeah, so they're not going to take anything. Yeah,
got it.
I'd like to use my spear to sort of brush the ash off to see if there's any sort of exit wounds or scratches, or if they were, caved in on.
The moment you start sort of brushing away some of the ash with the spear, the skin becomes brittle, and you see some of it crack and break in, exposing teeth on the inside of the jaw. It doesn't appear to be anything inside this corpse, which would not be surprising considering it was showered in volcanic ash. Probably did not entice anybody who wanted to come around and scavenge this thing. Cool. It's probably clear of any predators or surprises. If you want to try to figure out how this thing died, basically it's going to be like an intelligence forensics style check.
Could my medicine play into this?
Yes.
I know a lot about.
Yeah. 100%. So it could be an intellect-based roll. I'm going to set the difficulty at 5 is where it's going to start. But you have medicine trained, so it's going to drop to 4.
Okay, and then I'll spend 1 out of my intellect.
Okay.
To drop it to 3.
All right, so you need a 9 or better.
Okay. 18.
8. Y'all, the fucking rolls. You know what that means? Based off of our spy game abilities.
Eric.
So with an 18, what you learn looking at them, Gina, is you edge the body over a little bit, and Echo sees what looks like clear signs of trauma to the chest cavity. It's hard to tell with a corpse this old, but judging from the damage from the interior part of the lab coat, yes, it looks like they were probably shot multiple times.
Oh, so we see there's like just wounds.
Yeah, it looks like there is explosive damage to the chest.
Okay. And she just sort of leans back on
There are
her...
name tags.
Oh, can I read the names?
Mm-hmm. The first one is Dr. David Kent.
Okay. It would appear that David Kent and
Dr. Micah Yo.
Dr. Micah Yo.
Both were SATI researchers.
Yeah. These poor souls were executed as well. Probably in the initial wipeout from the orders.
The SATI Order 66.
You know, it's starting, maybe it's the gas in here, but it's starting to occur to me that they had a vested interest in not letting people know that. No, they couldn't have known that the asteroid changed. They said that was random, so they just didn't want people to know when they were going to die, to just leave them in ignorance. And they killed the scientists, but they didn't destroy the facilities, so they must have known that they'd need to come back here at some point for something.
Maybe.
I know some of the consoles are broken. And I know I don't know how to operate consoles because they're made of future tech. But hear me out, Fool's Luck. How good is their UX? Let's find out. Like, Penny's just going to start pressing some random buttons because it's not like we brought River here, the person who understands how to manipulate this technology. That means the level of thing that I am capable of doing is appropriate to this task.
Yeah, what was the name of the light boy?
Yeah, I was about to say the name
Echo
of the
said
AI.
out loud.
Yeah, I didn't write it down. I'm looking through my notes. I didn't write it down. I thought I wrote it down, but apparently I didn't.
So too.
Oh, it's in my notes. It's like Quigley or something.
Quigley, that's what it is.
Okay, there we go. Cool.
Although right if she's about to say it out loud, I'm like, remember it wanted to call Sadie, and then she says it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was definitely button pressing.
Okay. The console comes to life the moment you start pressing it. It just goes, starts activating. You see all of data start popping up. You can see on the other side of this thick coat of dust and volcanic ash, a blurry readout is beginning to shine through that thick layer, indicating, wiping it off gives you clear vision of what you're looking at. But you see the facility is on standby. Remarkably, a testament, of course, to the level of technology and the power that exhibits to these SATI facilities. Fully operational, despite the passage of time and all of the things that have happened. You do see a blueprinted layout begin to appear up on the screen as it starts running diagnostics on all systems across the facility. You apparently activated it while it was in standby mode, which would indicate that when this computer went offline, it did so on its own, like it entered sleep because no one was using it. And it's been in sleep mode for 80 years. The moment a human being touches the surface of it, it activates. In fact, Penny, you can see data entries that were in the middle of being made by one Dr. David Kent that stop abruptly in mid-sentence.
What sentence?
The data entries themselves are, they're basically like evening logs of interstellar activity, long-range telescopes. Make an intelligence check as you're sifting through this data. You don't have to make an intelligence check to hack this. You have access. It looks like it didn't go into a password lockdown after it went into sleep. It activates like you're in. It basically judging from what you're looking at, you get the impression the computer thinks you're Dr. David Kent right now. And it's not.
Yeah. Look at this face. This looks exactly like. Which one was it?
I can hand you the name tag. There's probably some sort of barcode to scan.
It seems to be all right so far. I mean, it has this data readout that's full of
lore.
Maybe he summarizes it somewhere. I'll see if there's like. I'll look for the abstract, I guess.
How far do our radios reach? I know we have comms, but I mean, can we call back to Silvercreek from this far out?
You're absolutely within range of Silvercreek, yeah.
What was the difficulty of the roll, by the way?
4. Base difficulty of 4. Intellect check.
I add literally nothing to it.
Excellent.
While you're doing that, what would our... Well, I know... What is the likelihood at this range? I feel like Echo would kind of stop you from making a radio call because Sati would know how to intercept something like that. Like we don't have the danger of butterflies intercepting that, but
okay,
Sati not so much.
All right, you're right.
What you got, Penny?
This data, my friends, is full of data.
Yeah, you're just looking at this wall of text and you're like, yeah, this is boring. Like sifting through it. You don't know what you're talking about. Carrying on about
me to read it.
Well, what was the last sentence? You mentioned that he stopped halfway through. What was he writing?
He was writing something about receiving a transmission from Kaleno City. And it acknowledges something called Measure Z activation.
That was the gate explosion.
Are the chest things in Kent or Micah? Yo, like, did he just turn around and countermeasure Z, his friend?
Who are you asking?
Echo.
Oh, yeah. Can I tell an exit or entrance wound on either of them?
I'll go ahead and, based off of the roll that you made, I'll go ahead and tell you now, it looks like they were both shot. It doesn't.
In the back or in the front?
No, in the chest. Both of them were shot in the chest.
Okay. They were both shot in the chest. So it's possible they read the thing, turned around, and were ambushed immediately. If it's mid-sentence, they got the measure, and already the security would have had their orders.
It's also possible, Echo, based off of where their bodies are located, that they were trying to escape.
Yeah.
They were shot in the chest, so they weren't shot running away.
So would we be able to sort of discern that measures, like they would have understood Measure Z meant their elimination?
You don't know it's difficult to say if they understood that meant that their death was imminent, but if you want to look at the data, you can make a roll.
Yeah, my guess.
Okay, so the difficulty is 4. It's an intellect check.
I'll spend 1. Why not?
Okay.
She's been doing so much intellect stuff. She's already in the habit.
Yeah, it drops to 3.
Okay.
Oh shoot! I had math up and clever, didn't I? Oh well.
I only rolled a 7.
Okay. There is something here, but as you're sifting through the data, you're having trouble making heads or tails of it. They keep making reference to Measure Z being activated and requesting instructions. You also see that there's a lot of input from Kaleno City giving specific coordinates in the night sky and putting those as priority.
Having seen what the other site is tracking this asteroid, do those seem like the same coordinates? I realize we're not scientists, but
fascinatingly enough, no.
I write down those coordinates.
Hey, can we just make this bad boy do that?
Yeah, let's fire it up.
You'd probably have to wait till nightfall. But
That
yeah, you
means
can do that.
Well, we could camp up here, but I don't know about you, but I'm starting to get a powerful headache from whatever these fumes are.
Oh yeah, shoot.
is there a ledge somewhere on this climb where we could camp out on the cliff face? Because you said it was on an incline. Is there anything leveled out enough? Otherwise, we could just hang out on rope. There's like no reason not to. You just sit into it.
Yeah, not really. If you wanted to, wherever you hang out, you'd have to go outside for sure.
Yes.
The climb. I'm not going to make y'all roll to climb back up, especially if you have.
Yeah. Oh, it should be with Goose anyway.
Yeah.
We'll go and.
It's easy enough to say you wait till nightfall.
Yeah.
And re-enter the facility.
If we can clear out some of the, like you said, there was a bit with like a lot of loose gravel and stuff. So maybe I'll spend some of my time clearing some of that out in case we need to.
Yeah. There's more to the facility too. There's living quarters on the inside as well as a mess hall and a control center.
Yeah, but it's all poison.
Yeah, it is thick with noxious gas. This seems to be the one place that's been allowed to ventilate.
Would Penny be willing to let Tego use the helmet temporarily?
Yeah, of course, for sure.
Because I would go through and I would look at everything in there, because remember, I have my recall ability. So if I find something important, I theoretically could like transcribe a map of this place or something if I had to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do very much with my gun in my hand, though, because I've seen enough movies that I'm just going to open the door and it's like 80-year-old dust swarm monster thing,
Well, the good news is as creepy as this place is and how murky it is with all the dust and volcanic ash that is gathered in the atmosphere of this dark corridor that this beam of light is shining down into from the helmet. The good news is, Tego, ain't nothing alive down here. You can tell just from the look of the volcanic ash all over the place that no animal life is going to crawl into here unless it was trying to escape a predator and ain't going to stay. So moving through the area, you see a lot of the same things over and over. You see corpses that have been left here. A lot of them in the same condition. And they all, for a better way of saying it, they all look like civilians. They all look like scientists. Some of them might look like they were other kinds of staff that weren't in lab coats. But judging from the way the bodies are gathered, you're already starting to get a picture. They had no idea what was about to happen to them. You come up to a set of double doors that is labeled administration at the very end of the hall. It's a very simple facility, very small facility.
Can we say I at least have the ability? Our short range comms are working though, right? We're wearing. Yeah. So I'm basically telling every time I'm like going up, heading left, going right, just in case something terrible happens.
Yeah, you're basically old school.
Right.
Again, I heard.
We're just listening. Penny's clearing out the rubble. I'm doing some stuff. I've like taken out the glass that I picked up, the volcanic glass, and on the SATI site, that the 100E, she's carving her name the rest of the way on the back of the E, just carving an echo.
Nice.
Eric, I need to make a roll, or maybe you need to make a roll. For thievery.
Oh, for
it's
Clever?
time to, I think Clever will have made an attempt on the dagger at some point in this process.
Then Gina, make a roll.
Okay. What's going into it?
The difficulty is 3. This is going to be an intellect-based roll.
Okay.
Any kind of perception you got will help.
I mean, I have danger sense.
You decide.
I know I have dino knowledge. I know Clever is stealing things, and I have been actively checking my
I'll count that as an asset.
hip.
I'll count that as an asset.
And I will say that the jagged dagger was given to me by my sister, so I actively want to keep it.
So difficulty is 2.
Okay. It's 11.
There's a split second where you think one of those damn spiders got on you, and you look down, and that son of a bitch, Clever, has got your knife halfway out of the scabbard in her mouth as she has scaled your leg. And even though you're looking directly at her, she reacts like she thinks you don't see her. She's just staring. She's just slowly pulling it out as you're staring right at her.
It's unfortunate, but That is a little bit of a
Violation.
like it's a bit of a no. And Echo grabs the hilt and gives the look to Clever like that this isn't allowed. And like unfortunately could very easily cut Clever's mouth if she pulls, but just holds.
Clever,
like not this.
The moment you grab it, it registers to Clever, the jig is up, and leaps down off of your leg. But notices you don't have, like, you give a look, but not an angry reaction. I'm going to ask you to make a roll real quick at difficulty level 3. And this is handling dinosaurs or communicating to dinosaurs. Anything you got, we'll drop that difficulty level.
Again, I only have dino knowledge.
Okay, dino knowledge. Yeah, we can drop that down to 2.
Okay. It's a 10.
Clever gets it.
Okay.
Clever understands what you're communicating.
Okay.
Yeah, because the difficulty was 2. You needed a 6 or better.
Yeah.
So Clever looks at you. That little membrane on their large eyes just flicking as they blink and kind of twisting their head a little bit to the side curiously.
Okay.
They don't look like they're butthurt or anything. They're just like, oh, okay.
I resheath it the rest of the way and I reclip it so that it's even harder to get to.
Okay.
She kind of breathes for a second and then unhooks one of the pouches that has some of the glass in it and goes back to carving as like a steal this instead.
Okay.
Kind of offer. And then goes back to carving. And now you can see she has shifted lower and she is now writing Penny. And you can, like, her intention is to carve all of our names because we are deciding this future.
So Penny hears the kerfluffle, senses Clever mischief flavored kerfluffle because that has particular sorts of sounds and they're very squeaky, and misses most of the interaction because they were turned around on rock duty. So by the time they turn around, it's after the resolution, and they see Echo beginning to carve this, and see Clever starting to make looks again, and just calls over their shoulder, "Hey, don't mess with Echo, Clever. She's cool." Goes back to rocks.
Okay.
There's a slight hesitation in Penny's carving and then continues. And that's the acknowledgement of, okay, apology has been accepted. And
okay. So, Tego, you reach this double doors that say administration on it. To your left, there is the sleeping quarters. To the right, looks like a small mess hall. Both rooms look like they have completely collapsed. You're not sure what the interior of the administration room is, but it does look like ever since Penny went and started messing around with that computer's console, all the lights in this facility started turning on. So there's little bitty flickering lights on the door panels where there's a code entry key, and there's flickering lights up in the corner where emergency lighting is active. What would you like to do?
So it looks like there's a key code. Any suggestions on what the code might be here? If I know their date system of when the gate was opened, for instance, like, when humans came back here, like however we've been tracking time, I would try and enter like the date.
Bzz, you just see a red code invalid.
How many digit things?
And I don't know how many it wants, but here's what's on the pad. Not describe it as accurately as I can.
Yeah,
because at a certain point it'll have gone buzz, and that number probably indicates. But
4 digits, 6 digits. You tell me when.
I mean, yeah, it looks
or
like.
Or is it a key card entrance?
It's not a key card entrance.
Okay.
It just looks like it's the same kind of key. It's the same kind of keypad that you saw in the bunker back at Silvercreek.
Maybe it's the same digit to enter. Maybe it's all the same code. One
man,
key for everything.
Give it a shot. That ain't very secure. Yeah, and I do type that in there.
The door opens.
It seems they didn't need security because no one knew they were gonna get got.
Well,
I mean, it was an administrative code of
Yeah.
some kind. So the same person who was using it to get into that bunker probably could get into any bunker. You guys might actually have a skeleton key to just about every Sati bunker on this side of Laramidia, for all you know, which is heavy duty. But as that door slides open, it fights a little bit as it grinds against some of the grime that's in the gear itself. Just
Oh, you and me both, door. You and me both.
There are 2 corpses on the ground, bringing the total up to 14 now that you've come across. And the computer consoles are also lit up. This interior is a small room, not the size of the observatory room, but it looks like this is where a lot of the data that comes directly in from the telescope is observed. But what you're also noticing, Tego, is something that just it's that double-edged sword of like, God damn it. Because this facility up on the wall has, as it's activated, gives a complete mapped readout of every Sati bunker in Laramidia up on the wall, including many of them that have been lost to time. There is an entire network branching out up and down the coastline. It is a stunning find. The moment you see it, you see all the Sati designations of every single bunker that is lining up at the side of the wall. You also see there's an indication of that Measure Z alert coming through. Interestingly enough, there is also all of these saved transmissions on this computer readout that coincides with the orders that are being given from Kaleno City to constantly scan the skyline, not for the comet, because as you're looking at the readout, the impression you're getting is they already knew about the comet. They knew when it was coming, and that makes sense. That coincides with what everyone assumed Sati already knew. What's strange is the telescope seems to be far more interested in at taking pictures and analyzing very specific sections of the sky in deep space. It's the same coordinates over and over. And what doesn't make sense is they're constantly being told every month to photograph or scan the sky, that section of the sky. It only moves as the Earth rotates. What you're looking at here, just like it's easy enough to read because of the digital readout, but it looks like even as the galactic turn was taking place, this scope was designated to look in the same coordinates no matter where the movement was happening and adjust accordingly. They were very interested in one piece of the night sky that is not anywhere near that comet.
Is there any indication of what it is they're looking for?
None. Just constant orders that came in from Laramidia. Constant orders coming in, rather, from Kaleno City. But what you do find interesting as you're looking at this, Tego, is as you get to the bottom of these orders, which were the last ones that they were given, you can see that it becomes a lot more frequent until you see the final lines written across. It looks like the administrator, whoever it was doing a code entry here. The last lines written here on the computer was that containment protocol is in place. 00E is contained. The Measure Z emergency protocols have been initiated. And that the data needs to be transmitted back to the gate immediately before the sequence begins, is the gist of what you read out. But as you're looking at this, you can't help but feel, Tego, that this is somehow connected to the destruction of the gate on the other side. Obviously, it is connected somehow to what's happened, and it's difficult to piece together.
Echo, Penny, I have a thought here. What if we were sent back in time as an early warning system for something else entirely that they were deeply afraid of in the far future.
Like in space?
Yeah.
Like if the meteor kills off the dinosaurs, there's like a meteor that hits them way in the future?
No, you know how we bust open that door and all them spiders came pouring out?
Yeah.
Well, the human race spread out into space. Who knows what spiders' nests they disturbed out there in the darkness?
Or whose spear tip they found.
Let's fire up the telescope and find out.
We're gonna end on that button. Tego, as you say that, as Echo echoes the sentiment, and you look down at this computer screen that's blinking, there's a chill that creeps up your spine. Something terrible happened. Something terrible happened. And you're finally finding the pieces. There's a bigger secret here. A secret that's linked to the future that you are all having to put together. And a secret now, if that asteroid isn't going to hit, you might need to find out about it soon, or you might inherit the doom of the past and the future.
I, for one, welcome our new Dalek overlords.
All right. I'm going to dole out, since we are approaching the penultimate episode next week, I'm going to go ahead and hand out another advancement to all of y'all. So let's get your characters to tier 3, because we haven't done any leveling up since we have really started Predation. We've been enjoying, it's a testament to Cypher system. You can play a full campaign at tier 1 and it's thrilling. At this case, let's go ahead and jump it up to tier 3, because
Wait, but Eric, why would we suddenly need a calamitous increase in power with only 2 episodes remaining?
So definitely tune in next week.
Danger sense.
Yeah. I appreciate we're all just sitting there and they just start glowing. Like,
yeah, you're going
Tons of
Super
resources
Saiyan.
and save points like right nearby.
Why would we need to repair and stock up on supplies?
This is the joy of running games for other GMs. Wait a minute.
Like, yay, level up. Hey. Hey, yeah.
We will catch y'all next Saturday at noon. And of course, we will catch you this Monday night for another good episode of Clear Skies. Ox Crew, everybody, thank you so much for joining us for our prehistoric adventure. We will catch you next time. Take care of yourselves. Stay healthy. Be careful. We love you. Have a good weekend.